Something like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show, weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
Agreement by which we can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillars. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to...
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media, and you don't have to worry about it because you'll have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you've already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead, hit that like button, because you already know what time it is, and you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it. You've seen other people do it well. But what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So make sure you hit that like button. And everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. There are so many people who need to get great content like this. And it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media. Share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks, today we're going to talk about a very interesting and serious subject. We are going to talk about, are Black people racist? Okay. Yep. I'll say it again for the people who thought they misheard. We're going to talk about, are Black people racist? Okay. Are they racist? All right. We're going to have a serious self-examination, y'all. Okay. A serious self-examination. Okay. And why are we doing this? Because why not? Okay. We need to take things seriously, don't we? Okay. So we're going to do a serious self-examination for Black people. All right. A serious self-examination for Black people. All right. But before we go into this, because this is a heck of a subject to do, before we go into it, though, let me take a quick moment out to give props where props is due. I appreciate everybody who gives me all types of support. There's people who come by and they give you a view. There's people who come by. They're going to even hit that like button, which is also important. And I do encourage everyone to hit the like button no matter when you're here. If you had a live show, hit the like button. If you're catching the replay a year later, hit the like button. It doesn't make a difference. Just hit that like button. Okay. And we got folks who, when you comment, also those help a whole lot when you make comments on videos. And we got people who financially support the channel, and I can't thank those people enough. I cannot thank those people enough. So salute to everybody who financially supports the channel, and we got to give them props. And today we want to give props to my main man, No Guarantees. Okay, No Guarantees is the sponsor of today's stream. Appreciate you big time, brother. Appreciate you big time. Cannot do things quite the same way without you. And I know people may say, well, I ain't seen No Guarantees, right? Well, I lost another channel, unfortunately. And I'm sure that would be the last channel that was lost. So people got to find me again. I'm sure he'll find me soon. So, but shout out to No Guarantees as a sponsor of today's stream. And let me give a couple shout outs to people right there, because when you start your show, y'all, it's always great to see people right there. They find you right away. And I appreciate that too. But y'all know how it goes. Okay. Y'all know how it goes. Over here, there can only be one. All right. There can only be one. And that one today, the Highlander of today's stream, Black Ice, y'all. Black Ice is the Highlander of today's stream. I believe this is his first time being the Highlander of the stream. Hey, y'all, you got to do it at least once, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 times. Okay. When you're going to be the Highlander of the stream, you got to make sure that happens. You got to make sure that happens. But shout out to Black Ice, the Highlander of today's stream. Shout out to my main man, Trill Bentley, representing right behind. He says, hashtag long live the habitual line steppers, hashtag Negroes in the wilderness, hashtag dignity over vagina, hashtag Al Gore's baby, and my favorite, hashtag Hell Hydra. Great to see you. Great to see you. We got Sarah B in the house. Hey, always good to see. Hey, Sarah. Always good to see you. Always good to see you. We got the righteous teacher in the building. What's good, my brother? What's good? Inspired Truth Broadcast has pulled up a seat to the cool table. We got Tunnel Runner in the building. Great to see you. Great to see you. Trash Bandit is here. Always good to see you, of course. We got our main man, the guy who gonna keep us all in line. Okay, who keep him and his crew. But shout out to the pitmaster, my main man, Chef Mike's Roundtable is in the building. Always great to see you, my friend. Always great to see you. We got all my hoes demonetized in the building with the disclaimer. Disclaimer, views expressed by this Chi-Town content creator are to be respected because it's Friday, man. Hey, I gotta respect that. I gotta respect that. Shout out to all my hoes demonetized. Dolomite is in the building. What's going on, my brother? Dolomite is in the building. Great to see you. Great to see you. Afro Merchant is here. Eric M is here as well. Greets with fire. Y'all, we gonna get into it, y'all. We gonna get into it. We gonna deal with what some people may think is a subject that's a little bit of a struggle. Okay, it might, they might think this subject may be a little bit of a struggle, but I want to get into it. And of course, everybody's welcome to join the panel, especially on a show like today, man. Especially on a show like today. And you know what? I just realized I did not pin the link. I got to get used to pinning this link, but we gonna get that done. We gonna get that done. We ain't gonna let nothing stop us. We ain't gonna let nothing stop us. So, got to deal with this concept, y'all. Are black people racist? Now, this America, right? It's okay to ask a question, right? It's okay to ask a question. This is America. And because it is America, and it's okay to ask a question, I ain't tripping about the question, okay? I ain't tripping about the question. Are black people racist? Well, you know what? There are some folks who believe black people are racist. Don't get it twisted now. There's some folks that believe black people are racist, and they will stick to that. They gonna stand by it, okay? And y'all know it's a lot of folks who want to get some heat off themselves, and the best way they know to go about getting some heat off themselves is say, hey. And they may not say it quite like this to your face, but this is what they really saying. You niggas is racist, okay? Everything that happens to you is your fault because you niggas is racist. Now, they ain't gonna come out and say it like that, all right? Most of them, they don't want that type of smoke, They don't want that type of smoke. But they do want to try to encourage you or help you believe that black folks is racist. So you can take things a totally different way. And you can accept that everything is your fault that they did. Okay. And some people may say, well, well, we didn't do it. The people who was being racist was, those was years ago. Years ago. That slavery stuff, we had nothing to do with that. Okay. We didn't do nothing to that. You know what? Heck, not only did we not put y'all in slaves, heck, we didn't redline y'all. Okay. We didn't lynch y'all. Okay. We didn't shoot you in the street for doing nothing. Okay. We didn't do that. We didn't try to rob you and desecrate your name. They're gonna say all type of stuff like that, even though they know it's still being done. Okay, they know it's still being done, but they're gonna say they didn't do it. Of course. If we didn't catch you red-handed, you ain't got no parts of it. And you know what? Let's keep it real. Okay, let's keep it real. You ask them. If you ask any non-black person today, okay, if they not FBA, and you ask them, "Are you a racist?" Do you think any of them are going to say, "Yes, I'm a racist"? Now, I ain't gonna lie, you might find somebody bold enough to actually make the claim, okay? Because y'all know, just like I could find you a guy with no legs. It might be amongst amongst 10,000 people or so, maybe you'll find one bold enough to say, "No, I am racist." Because they ain't worried about it like that. Okay, is what doubt it. I'm sure you can find a person who will claim it. You just got to do a little work. You're gonna have to do a little, and you're going to, well, really a lot of work. It's because they ain't gonna just come out and tell you. And I wouldn't expect anything less from them. I just wouldn't. Okay, and I get that. I get that. But there's a lot of folks who like to say that black people are racist. That's what the problem is black people, y'all are racist. Y'all. Now, I'll put a small link in the description that shows an actual black person, okay, an actual black person who is claiming that most black people are racist. He has his theory why. He has his theory why. It's an interesting explanation. That's all I can tell y'all. It's a very interesting explanation. It was a little funny to me that's where he went with it. Okay, that's where he went with it. Now, I'm not tripping that he went there. Shout out to him. Okay, shout out to him for saying what he really feel. Okay, shout out to him for saying what he really feel or what he really thinks, his real actual viewpoint, whatever it is to him. Shout out to him. All right. A lot of folks may think they're in a trick bag if somebody's asking them about black people being racist. Well, obviously, he didn't think he was in too much of a trick bag because he threw that answer out pretty quickly. You know what I'm saying? He threw that. No, well, he said it real nice and smooth, y'all. Real nice and smooth. He didn't have no issue telling you what he think. Okay, no issue at all. And that's cool. That's cool. Are there some black people who think like him? Yeah. Very, very small. There are some black people who think like him. It just is what it is. They out there. All right. Now, the reason why, I don't know if they would say the exact same thing as far as the reason why, but it's black folks out there that would agree with him. Okay. And I totally get it. A lot of black folks would agree with him because that's a good way to endear yourself to white folks. Okay. That's a good way to endear yourself to white folks. And you want to get some props from some white people, say something bad about black people. But if you really want to impress white folks, you say something bad about black men. That's what you do. Okay. So let's examine this, y'all. Let's take a real examination. Because, there are people out there who truly believe that black folks are racist. Okay. Yes, people who really truly believe this. Now, is there any truth to black people being racist? Well, the gentleman this is, Jesse Lee Peterson said, he said that he believes black people are racist because a lot of them think white people are racist and white people are out to get them. Okay. Now, is there other black people who feel that way? Oh, I'm sure. Absolutely sure there's other black people who feel that way. Let's examine that just a little bit. Can black people be racist simply because they believe white people are racist? Now, that don't make a lick of sense. Okay? It don't make a lick of sense if you're just looking at, the actual fact, are black folks racist? What he said don't make no sense at all. Now, it makes sense in a culture where you can get paid to be on white people's side, because white people love to find a nigga, because that's what you are to them. They love to find a nigga who will say the stuff that they want to say, but they don't want to say it themselves. They don't want to, quote unquote, bear the responsibility of saying it themselves. So if you will say things that white people want you to say, they will take care of you. They will compensate you. Okay? Heck, you can get rich just being a talking head for white folks. And truth be told, there's a lot of black folks who try to get rich, trying to be a talking head for white folks. Now, are there some that actually got rich? Yes, it is. It can happen. Are there a lot of people trying to do it who didn't necessarily get rich? Oh, absolutely. A lot of folks is trying to, be racist on white folks' behalf, because they want to get rich. They seen somebody else get rich. Now they want to get rich. Well, all I got to do is tear these niggas down. Yeah. That's all you got to do. Tear these niggas down. Okay. Now, real quick. Let's take a quick look at the definition of racist, y'all. Now, this is from Merriam-Webster, and I do know definitions will change over time, but Merriam-Webster was something I was using even as a kid. Okay. This is the first dictionary I can remember using. So you go to their website. Okay. Racist. All right. Having, reflecting, or fostering the belief that race is a fundamental determinant of human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce inherent superiority of a particular race. Okay? It produces inherent superiority over a race. All right? Now that's definition. The definition A. They got a okay. You know what this is? This says synonyms of racism. Okay, I just want to be accurate. It says synonyms of racism. One of two, adjective. All right. B says of, relating to, or characterized by the systematic oppression of a racial group to the social, economic, and political advantage of others. Okay. All right. So that's what this is. Okay. Now, when you listen to things like that, and you actually take a look at black people, can you come to a reasonable conclusion that black people are racist? Okay. Now, Black Ice, the headline of today's stream, I seen a couple question marks in his comments, so I just want to see what he said. He says, racist with what? How can blacks systematically exclude whites? How can blacks systematically exclude white? That's a great question. That is a great question. Now, how can we systematically exclude whites? I'm gonna say, truth be told, I don't know. Okay, I don't know. I don't know how in this grand country of America. Now, shout out to all my people listening around the world, because I know some folks deal with some very similar issues. Okay, but I don't know how black folks in America can actually systematically exclude white people? I don't know. Now, and for today, y'all, I'm using white people as anybody that's non-black. Okay, well, if you're not a black FBA person, okay. Well, I don't want to say that because we got some black people that's cool with us that not technically FBA, but I'll go with if you're white or an other, okay, but you don't happen to be black. You know what I'm saying? If you don't rock with the FBAs, you white for this for today. Okay, if you don't rock with the FBA, you white. All right. How do we systematically exclude some white folks? I just don't know. Because I'll tell you what, man, from what I can tell, the entire history of this country is that every time black folks get some stuff for themselves, they do stuff on their own, white people won't in. And if white people believe they can't get in, or if it's something that white people just see black folks having, but don't necessarily want to get in, their general reaction is to attack it. Okay, that's their general reaction. If black folks got something, we want in, but they don't want to let us in, they're going to attack it. If black folks have something and white folks don't like the fact that they have that thing on their own, but they don't necessarily want to get in, they'll destroy it. So how can black folks systematically include white folks from anything? I don't know a legal way offhand to really do that. Okay. Now I'm not gonna act like we don't have certain things written in laws and things like that, but there's certain things that are just not pushed. There's certain laws that are not respected. Okay. Should black folks be able to develop something positive for themselves and not let white people control it in any kind of shape, way, and form? You would think so. You would think so. But is there anything like that exists? Well, maybe there is. I don't know what it is. I really don't even know what it is. The best, I'm trying to think of something like that. The best thing popping up to my head right now, okay? The best thing popping up to my head right now is like a fraternity or a sorority. Okay? Because you got the Divine Nine, okay? You got these fraternities and these sororities where it's basically black folks. But now that I'm thinking about that, I don't remember what came up with it. I remember somebody made an issue about keeping white folks out of the fraternities and sororities that black people had. So I don't remember that to see if that really went anywhere. So I don't know about that. I remember there was an issue being made with something like that. But now I am gonna say, because they are operating from college campuses, can they actually tell white folks what to do in regards to that? No, because white folks still get to dictate what's going on, even with those. And y'all may say, well, that can happen at any school. What about historically black colleges and universities? Well, see, you got to pay attention. When you say historically, who you mean? Who you mean? Okay, because when you say historically, the reason they say historically because black folks don't own it. Okay, that's why you say historically. Historically, black college and university. That means stuff black people don't own. That's why they came up with that, because they couldn't say black colleges and university, because if you say black college and university, that means it's belong to black folks. Okay, so I don't even know how you can say a sorority or a fraternity can exclude white folks, because they got to do what they're allowed to do at the school. If the school say you got to let them in, what they got to do? They got to let them in. It is what it is. Now, this ain't me setting up this stuff, y'all. I'm just a squirrel trying to get a nut out here, as they say. This ain't me setting this stuff up. This is just how it goes. This is simply how it goes. All right. And if anybody wants to make a comment, of course, y'all can jump on the panel at any time. Okay. There are some folks out there who don't understand. Roger's a very welcoming person, and he'll let people on shows. So okay. Now I'm a actually, you know what? I said that a little earlier. Somebody jumped right in. But you know what? Since I said that, usually I like to go a little bit longer by myself. But since I said that, I'm gonna let them up right away. Okay. Now we got a gentleman by the name of Gotti. I'm allowed to join the panel. Okay. And now we got H Rebels coming in as well. So Gotti, I'm gonna ask you to turn your camera off, brother. I'm gonna ask you to turn your camera off. And it's only because I don't know you. Okay. I don't know you. Okay. All right. And I got to be careful with new folks. Okay. I got to be careful with new folks. I don't get no bad vibe from you or anything like that, but you got to be careful with the new folks. So, Gotti, you getting the mic first. Go ahead and speak your piece. If you don't know, you get a 2-minute opening statement. Say what you like. Say what you think, my brother. Go ahead.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to come on the show. If you can hear me, let me know.
I can hear you, brother. I can hear you. You're a little low, but I can hear you.
Okay.
Matter of fact, do me one favor. H Rebel, say something real quick just to make sure my volume set correct.
Hello?
H. Oh no, he got knocked off. All right, go ahead.
I just got on because I wanted to get a better perspective on the topic about the racism. I was wondering, are you talking about racism towards black men, black women, or both?
No. The topic is are black people racist?
That's why I was trying to get a better perspective, because I think that we do have blacks that do treat other blacks with racism behavior. So I was just trying to get a better understanding. I was wondering, like, how black men were treated back in the days, like Emmett Till and them. And I was wondering, like, do we have new oppressors in this day and age that still do the same thing, but with a different face? So I was wondering if you was talking about racism towards black men, but if you talking about racism towards just black people in general, I mean, we still have a whole lot of anti-blackness, but I was just assuming and thinking at the same time, as far as just a black man in general, we deal with more than just anti-black from outside the community. I think we deal with it as well from with inside the community too. And I'll just use an Emmett Till situation, or even Shikari is a prime example of that as well. But that's just my perspective, and I was just trying to get an understanding if that's what we was talking about.
Well, the thing is, I'm just, I put the question up there the way I put it up there for a reason. Are black people racist? So my thing is, whatever somebody wanted to say that can show that black people are racist, hey, it's on the table at this point. It's on the table. I didn't say anything about what kind of racism is. It's on the table. If anybody believes black folks are racist, so whatever racism is on the table. So what you say is that's you said something legitimate, okay, and that works for me. So it's absolutely fine. If anybody thinks black folks are racist in general, okay, just any kind of way, they can say whatever they want. The only thing I'm a require around here is just respect. And what your opinions are, or what your conclusions are. All of them cool. We gonna discuss it all. So you good, my brother. You good. But what I want to do at this particular point is give the mic to H Rebels, because he did come back up. So H Rebels, go ahead and give an opening statement as well, and we're gonna get into this stuff.
So, Roger, shout out to you as the host. Interesting topic. So the simple answer is no. Are black people racist? That's a simple answer, right? And then if you left it at that and people just agreed, then we'd be okay with it, right? The problem is there is a plethora, there's an abundance of people of all racial groups, black, white, some Asian, even Hispanic, you know, even some Native Americans that are running around here all over the United States and even outside of the country talking about how black people are racist. Now, one of your requirements to be on the and part of this discussion is respect, and I can agree with you on that. One of my requirements when people have this discussion about black people being racist, especially black Americans, I'm going to need some evidence. I need you to show me the evidence. And whenever I ask people this question, and I have been in discussion with other people, non-black people, some black people, you know, men, women, all of these, you know, I've had several discussions about this, and at every point, no one can point to how black people are openly racist. Now, the only thing they can come up with is some black person called me a name. That's literally about it. That's all I ever get. Oh well, you know, somebody called me a saltine or some derogatory name. If that's all racism is to you, then I say you're actually lucky, because racism is so much more than that. I can give you harsh, hardcore, stomp down examples of racism against black men, where black men are being openly tortured by police officers while being called race slurs. You can't find an example of black people doing that to anybody else. Not only not especially doing that, and more importantly, getting away with it. That's actually part of racism. A lot of people like to give this technical definition of racism and leave out the actual reality of racism, right? But the bottom line is that I have yet to have anybody of any importance or even no importance, or just basically anybody, be able to explain to me in an intelligent, logical, and verifiable way how black people are being racist to anybody. And I'll end with this. I submit, and these are the facts, by the way. In the United States of America, black Americans, black men specifically, are the largest victims of hate crimes, right? If black people can actually be racist and they can be racist towards somebody else, they shouldn't be the largest victim of hate crimes. Not only that, if they were racist, they would actually use that racism to either get those hate crimes away from them, or to run around bothering other people. And there's no evidence of it. And I'll go ahead and land right there.
Okay, appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that. Now, I'm gonna say, you know, I looked. I'm in this thought process because yes, there are people who will say, "Well, you blacks are racist too." And my question is always, "Well, who are we being racist to? Explain it to me." Yeah, what is the evidence? I don't really see it because we black folks got red line. We didn't do the red line. Okay, you know.
Hey,
But,
can I
but
interject? Man, can I interject?
go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Um, on the outside looking in, we would look racist because we're the only ones that don't have an anti-hate crime bill. Everybody else that's in this country that's a different race has one. So while we're outside being broadcast on the news and social media as violent individual people against these other races, against these other races of ethnicities, of course we're going to look racist. Now, until we get an anti-crime hate bill towards blacks, for blacks, then it won't. It's not going to expose everybody else, even the people within our own community. Unless we come up with a bill, push the bill to where when you attack a black man for no reason, that's a hate crime. Until they do that, everybody outside of the community and within the community is not going to be exposed. That's why we would look racist outside of the U.S. or outside of our own community. That's just my perception. I could be wrong, but I just know that the fact that we don't have a hate crime bill for blacks, it just, when you look at it on paper, it kind of takes it a different way.
So,
I'll conclude
so,
and let's
so, Well, so a hate crime bill is supposed to actually protect you from racism. Black people don't. There's nothing in America, as far as legislation, exclusive to black people that protects any black people from being the victims of hate crime. Matter of fact, it's actually allowed in the United States. Yeah, there's some constitutions. There's some stuff in the Constitution. There are laws on the books, but none of that stuff is enforced. And because those laws are not enforced, then the general society, the United States government, has no reason to actually uh, write any laws or mandate or enforce any laws that actually protect black people from hate crimes, because the United States government literally agrees with it. They support that type of behavior. It could, they could have protected black people a long time ago. So what people will do is they'll go, well, black people are responding, so that looks like racism. We've had several incidents, just recently, in the past year and a half, in the past few weeks, where black people responded to somebody doing something to them, and then you got people literally calling it racism. The white man who started that brawl in Cincinnati, you have white people all over the internet and all over Fox News and these other main outlets really talking about, they're calling for hate crime charges. He's the one that started the fight. He started
And
the fight.
you know what? I agree with them. There should be hate crime charges against him, though. The white man that started the fight. Sure, I can accept that he hit the black folks because he hates them. I can accept that. Okay, but the black folks were simply doing self-defense. But you got white folks saying, "Hey, the black folks should get a hate crime charge because some
Exactly.
white man attacked them."
Yeah,
They
exactly.
want,
They want the ability to harm black people and not no response.
All right, well, hold fast 1 second, gentlemen. We got Champ Car for Life who's come up as well, so maybe let him get the mic. Champ Car, you got it, brother.
Hey, brothers. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to y'all. The short answer, 2 words. Hell no, black folks can't be racist. Let me ask you this question, fellas. Are white folks being systematically are white folks facing systematic racism from us? Have we destroyed towns and everything else, like in Tulsa, Wilmington, North Carolina? Were we even lynching white folks and everything else? Did we pass Jim Crow laws, redlining, and everything else? If you really want to know the truth, white folks are racist towards themselves, because look what they've done to themselves, as far as economic equality within themselves, especially in places where I'm currently living at here in Southwest Missouri. We got homeless whites and everything else. Look how they treat their veterans and everything else with disabilities. Many of them are on the streets panhandling with their limbs cut off and everything else. So no, we had nothing to do with all this stuff and everything else. But you see an incident that happened in Cincinnati where a white person used the N-word and put hands on somebody else. Look, I admire John Lewis, but I don't believe in this John Lewis turn the other cheek crap anymore. That to me is inhumane, and that makes you almost like you're 3/5 of a human being. You should take your ass whooping. Not going to do that no more. Okay? Because we're at the point right now, if this is going to come down, then we'd rather just go ahead and fight and die for that. What do we have to lose? I mean, who are you going to find to replace us anyway? Which racial group are you going to find to replace us and everything else? Because you're only, 9% of the world's population and everything else. So no, we're not, and everything else. We have faced far more racial brutality for centuries and everything else. Transatlantic slave trade, the Jim Crow segregation, everything.
All right.
Having our black leaders assassinated.
So,
I'll land
slow
my
down,
plane
bro.
there.
Yeah, I'm gonna say slow down. Like I'm not gonna bring this across the world. I'm just dealing with it from an American context. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
World
Yeah.
stuff gets into very different things. Okay.
That's true.
Now,
Just want to make a point, though.
May I interject for a hot second?
No, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Um, um, I'm not.
Oh, and welcome to the show, brother. I didn't say that to you. Welcome to the show. I know it's your first time here, so welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you, and good morning to everybody. It's 7:56 in California, Long Beach. So good morning to everybody. It's still morning.
Okay. All right.
I'm not disputing the last gentleman of what he said. Only correction I wanted to have a specification on was that was the man. I know everybody that looks white seem to be white, but that's not the case. It's a lot of people with the same skin tone that's not white. I believe the guy was Russian that slapped the black guy in the face in Cincinnati. So it's a lot more to uh, what we're seeing versus what we're saying. I mean, yeah, he looks white, but no, he's Russian being supported by white individuals. And so we have to be able to understand the distinction of all these other nationalities and identifying them and to know what's really going on. Because, yeah, we see everything black and white, but it's not really black and white. It's color. Black and
Well, he's white in America, and that actually makes it worse because he's from another country, which means he may or may not be a
that's
citizen.
what I'm saying. It makes it
And
even worse.
the bottom line, the only thing that counts in America is your whiteness, and he's being protected.
Yeah.
We still don't even know his name. We don't know his name. His name has been plastered on the news. Nobody's seen who he is. He's being protected and hidden. And meanwhile, the 5 and 6 other black people have been arrested who
Now,
defended themselves.
If we had an anti-black hate crime bill, I think that man would have been arrested. And
Maybe not.
Nah, I doubt it. I doubt it because the bill is only as good as the people who's supposed to enforce it. And I doubt if you can consider us having an anti-hate bill, that it would be enforced because there's plenty of rules out there where you're not supposed to do stuff to black people, but people feel quite comfortable doing it. And I'm gonna say this: when it comes to that man. Now, I did a show about that guy, y'all. I was jokingly calling him Vladimir. You know what I'm saying? I had no idea the dude was Russian. So y'all saying he Russian was news to me. I had no idea. But white is white.
Yeah.
And my thing is, I don't care nothing about his certain group of white. He white. And if he's not from America, that it's even worse. Now, y'all saying he Russian, so I don't know if y'all mean he's Russian, but he was born here in America to some Russian parents. I don't know what folks mean by that because I knew nothing about his background. I just know he white. And I know he was comfortable enough in this country that supports white supremacy that he went after some black folk. And now it's a big thing because the black folks won. The only reason that fight mattered to white folks is because the white guy started the fight, but the white guy lost. That's all it really comes down to at the end of the day. Black folks are allowed to defend themselves. This is on the books. They can defend themselves just like anybody else can defend themselves. I'm not gonna let somebody just whoop on me on some random street in Cincinnati. Black folks got a right to defend themselves. So I can definitely see racism on how the news coverage is doing stuff because they're going after the black folks. They arresting them. But what are you arresting me for? Self-defense? I don't need to be arrested. I didn't start the fight. If you got the footage, you know they said it on the news. The white guy started it, so y'all know who started. Why you arrested me? I'm allowed to defend myself in this country. Am I not a citizen? Okay, am I not a citizen? Am I not an American citizen? And do I not get the rights of all other American citizens? So if another American citizen who's white can defend himself, I don't see what you're talking about coming to arrest me because I would have had a whole issue about that from Jump Street. But now my thing is this: where do black people do that at? Because I've never heard of a group of black police officers going to arrest some white folks for defending themselves. I ain't never heard of that. So people say, we know are black people racist? I mean, you got a right to ask a question, but where did it happen at? What racism have black folks shown? What building did black folks kick some white people out of? I don't know
Well,
that building.
Roger, all you're gonna get is, and look, and even on that video that you attached to with Jesse Lee Peterson, and look, I don't even want to get into Jesse Lee Peterson, but because we all know about him. But the thing is that go down the comments. Oh yeah, I'm Asian, I'm white, I'm this, and black people have been so racist towards me. Now they never. It's always in the comments. They can never explain, and then when you start digging into the story, so here's what happens. You start asking, so what do those black people do to you? Well, they called me a name. Oh well, and if it gets physical, then what you find out eventually is that they started it. They started it. They did something. They did something to elicit a response from black people, and black people defended themselves, and then they got their behinds whooped. They got on the spot. I call it on the spot correction, right? Because that's what it is. Because you can't count on getting any correction from the system. See that the one thing. Here's one thing I learned is that if you don't correct people on the spot, especially white folks, then you ain't gonna. There's a chance you might not ever get any correction. All right, they're gonna get protected in the system. You're not gonna get justice, so you got to give them their correction on the spot.
Right.
So all of that being said, is that what you find out is somehow, some way, they provoked a black person into striking them, and then they want to call that racism, or they said something, they smarted off, or they aggravated or provoked a black person into a response, or even worse, or now all of a sudden you got the other group that's like, well, I grew up in a black neighborhood and the black people bothered me all day long. Well, it's because you were in a black neighborhood, and it was probably they're trying to figure out why you're there, and it was probably had some issues, like it was probably resource deprived, and you were in poverty the same way they were in poverty, and basically you were just being bullied like everybody else. So
Right.
that's
You
the
know
issue
what?
you're dealing with.
Good point. Good point. Yes, that's
I'm
what I
gonna
was going to
say,
say right
real
there.
quick, champ. I'm gonna give it to you in a second. I'm gonna say I don't even believe that. I think they was just lying.
Yeah.
I've seen black folks operate around non-black folks. Black folks are extra courteous to non-black folks. They try to make sure they're not getting in their way. So I don't even believe. I think they just lying. I've never seen any black people act a certain way toward a non-black person who lived in their neighborhood. I ain't never seen it. I ain't even seen it on the news. But champ, go ahead, brother.
Well, it's the I'm white and I say so mentality that that they carry around and everything else. It's this it's this entitlement mindset that says to them that I can be in your space wherever I want. We're extra courteous. We allow them to get in our spaces if they want to listen to hip hop, jazz, R&B music. We allow them to go ahead and have some fun with us and everything else. But if they get a little drunk and unruly and everything else, that's when their behavior starts coming out and everything else. And once we start checking on them and everything else, then they have a problem with it and everything else. They don't like to be checked on their behavior when they're around us and everything else. Like for instance, again, I want to have to go back to that incident in Cincinnati. It was outside and everything else, and some guy just goes up there, puts his hands on a brother and everything else, and all hell broke loose. And it was justified because look, we're tired again. We're tired of turning cheeks like that. Listen to this. However you may feel about all those riots back in the '60s and everything else, that type of response made a huge impact on a lot of civil rights legislations and whatnot and everything. And the fact that the Black Panthers were born and they had shotguns and everything else, that scared the hell out of a lot of white folks back then.
Yeah, you got to meet their energy.
Yeah, you got
that's
to
all I
go
call it.
face
Just
to
meet
face
their
with
energy.
their energy.
Hold fast 1 second, brothers. Hold fast 1 second, because I'm gonna address the comment. Then I'm gonna get the mic to all my hosts. The monetizers coming up for the first time. Now, shout out to 79, and I don't know how to the proper way to pronounce this. So, Kali Hakate, I guess that's what that is. Kali Hakate. Now, Kali Hakate makes a statement that says, we have investigated ourselves and found nothing wrong, like they do, with the laughing emoji. And I'm going to say this. The issue with a question like that, because and like I say, I'm assuming they black, but a lot of black people always want to give reverence to white people or give white people a pass. We haven't found anything wrong, but the thing is, ain't nobody else found it wrong either. When other people say how we're racist, they can't express it. See, that's the difference with us. White people can say I'm not racist, and we can easily point it out to them. When you ask a white person how black people are racist, they have a trouble giving you an answer. Now, with all these years that have gone by, how come they can't explain it? Because what white person has ever actually explained how a black person was being racist to them? They have never even said how any group of black people were being racist to them. You can make up stuff saying, well, I got bullied when I was in school. Well, a bunch of random people get bullied in school. Now, number one, I don't believe you because I know how black people act when non-black people are there. And black people act extra on their toes because unfortunately we got so many black women raising children, and black women don't want no reputation that they child did anything to a non-black person, especially a white one. So that's why I don't believe it in the first place. I ain't never heard tell of no actual black people ever bullying a white kid. I don't care what's going on. They ain't gonna bully no white kid.
So
At the most, they're gonna do stuff for the white kid.
So one of the ways to shut that down is say, hey, look, we need verifiable, factual, and historical evidence. We don't want hypothetical situations or your anecdotal experience because you could be lying, and hypothetical situation means nothing. You're just going to make up a set of conditions to get the answer that you want.
Yeah,
so, no, we need verifiable evidence.
This is the thing. Ain't nobody seen it. It ain't been on the news ever. I'm gonna say ever. It ain't been on the news. Nobody took a picture of it. No random person got a video. Now, camera phones been out for a while now. They done had plenty of time to get it out there. We ain't seen it on social media. The clip ain't went viral. Ain't none of that done happen. So my thing is, if black folks is bullying white kids, we'd have seen that by now. Because that camera phone. Now, I don't know why all these folks is giving their small children phones, but we done had plenty of time for that stuff to have come out, and it still ain't came out yet. So it just is what it is. If you can't give me the incident, I ain't really trying to hear it at the end of the day. But y'all, we got two new gentlemen that have come up. So all my hoes, the monetizers here, and I'm gonna say welcome to the shows because it's your first time on the panel. And then we're gonna get in Inspired Truth Broadcast. All my hoes demonetized. You have the floor, my brother.
Peace, family, everybody in the chat, and also everybody on the panel. Basically, at this time, I wanted to come up because I was kind of compelled, basically, on the dynamic that everybody agrees here on the panel and in the chat that racism basically is systemic, correct?
Yeah, it definitely can be. Yeah, it's hard to.
Forms, but yeah, it's primarily systemic. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, for us establishing that racism is systemic, basically, you can look at the eyes of the law and understanding that systems play a factor in this whole thing. So, I don't know if anybody has ever heard of the term civilly mortuus.
I'm sorry. What did you say
again? Say the term again.
Civilly mortuus.
I don't think I've ever heard of that one.
Basically, what that implies is that if you're considered black in the eyes of the law, you are civilly dead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, mortuus is okay. Got it.
Right. So in understanding those dynamics and basically understanding that if you look at history and all of the systems that have been set up basically to be able to ensure that every race, creed, sex, or color is protected within the eyes of the law, such as the 1964 Civil Rights Act, black will never have any credence up under that law based on the fact that when you're considered black, you're civilly mortuus.
I mean, that's a point, but I mean, the thing is that it's just the laws are in place; they're just not enforced. See, because as citizens, right, by virtue of the 14th Amendment, black people have the same rights and benefits and privileges as full citizens. The problem is that laws, as opposed to protect and benefit black citizens, are not properly enforced. Like we don't get the full benefits of those protections. You know, this Malcolm X
Exactly.
was actually making this argument in the 1960s. He said, look, we wouldn't need any more laws. We already have Constitution. We already have laws that protect white people. They're born full citizens. This is the argument he was making. He's like, if you're white, you are already a citizen. You're born with full rights, benefits, and privileges as a United States citizen. White people didn't need any more laws. They didn't need any more rights. They didn't need to come up with any more legislation. They already, once they're born, the second they're born, they got full rights and benefits and privileges as citizens, right? All they got to do is got to be born in the United States. So what other people are trying to get black people to accept is third and fourth class citizenship in their own country, meaning that you get partial benefits, but you definitely not going to get full benefits.
It's you get benefits when we say so.
Yeah, exactly.
Because my thing is, because I want to be careful about what's being said. Black folks have it too. They're just trying to convince you that you're not supposed to have it, and you shouldn't expect to receive it at any due time that's inconvenient for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So what I'll land my plane with is this. So in what we just discussed, based on everything that we just mentioned now, when we look at our rights being discretionary, how can you say or really put credence on the fact that we're racist when we don't, or we're not able to imply how we can move based on how the laws are within this system?
All right. Now, since you landed your plane, I want to go ahead and get Inspired Truth in here as well. So everybody then got an opening statement in, and then we can, of course, free flow from there. Inspired, you got it, my brother.
Excellent. First of all, can you hear me? Because my connection was really bad earlier on. It just kind of like ended up crapping out.
No, you good right now. You totally good.
All right, great. Salute to you, Raj. Salute to the brothers and sisters in the chat and everybody else that might be in the chat. And gosh, this one here is like, this is like my pet peeve. It's the whole idea of the false equivalence. Like the idea that, oh, okay, there goes like a drop of water over here, therefore it is equivalent to the ocean over there. I talk from time to time about these rhetorical devices, how things get how language gets weaponized against us. Consider this. Journal of American Medical Association, also known as JAMA. They went and they took a look at the CDC data. 1999 to 2020, 1.6 million excess deaths. That's under the health disparity for us. Wealth gap, Census Bureau, still have basically about a 10-to-1 racial wealth gap. Sometimes you look at it as like 8-to-1. Either way, it's massive, like close to an order of magnitude in a capitalist country, by the way. National Registry of Exonerees, 1989 to 2022. More than half of the exonerees are Black, and we're only 13% of the population. You go and you look at the data, you go and you look at the results, you go and you look at reality, and then you hear the false framing of, oh, well, you all do it too. It's ridiculous. It always has been ridiculous. It's always been just using and weaponizing language to give a false narrative.
Okay. And I I can't agree with that. Yeah, I'm gonna get to the cash apps in a moment. I just grabbed my phone to make sure I'm saying some of these cash apps, and I'm gonna deal with a couple things from yesterday in a moment. But I will say this now. This is the thing. White folks been saying Black folks racist for the longest. Now I've heard them, I've talked to them, but what I have not heard is white folks explain to us how we're being racist. As I was saying earlier, what did we lock you out of? What job did Black people do something to keep you out of? What Black person had the power to get you up out of a job you already had? You know, maybe the Black person come through, you are already employed at some particular corporation. What Black person came there and just said, hey, because you white, we gonna take your job from you? I haven't seen any evidence of this stuff. No one's told a story about this stuff. Even the folks who claim Black folks is racist, they ain't never really told me how it's ever happened that Black folks use any level of power to keep them out of anything. I mean, there does take some level of power in order to be a racist, right?
Absolutely.
Or we just talk about folks with bad feelings. Because now people will say, well, some of y'all hate us. I don't really believe that because I haven't seen the evidence of black people attacking random white folks. I ain't even seen that. Now, hatred seems to include that. Because I can say white people hate black folks, and I can give you a bunch of incidents about how black folks attacked a random black person. We don't have to go way back in history. Orlando still got attacked. Why he get attacked? Looked like he was black while driving. I didn't see any other reason for him to be attacked. And he was attacked by somebody who's supposed to enforce the law. That man pulled over, was in total compliance for the police stop, and he lost his life for being black. There's literally no other reason that man did. He didn't make no false moves. He didn't have no information. He told the officer everything he wanted to know, and he did. You see what I'm saying? So when people say, well, black people racist, I hear you, but you don't give me no examples. When I say white people racist, I just ask you when you want the example from. You want an example from this year? You want an example from last year? You want an example from a decade ago? You want an example from a century ago? Where you want the example from?
You can give an example from yesterday, Roger. You can give an example from yesterday. I can give you an example from 2 hours ago.
Like it didn't happen in the last 2 hours. Yeah, it's somebody across the country right now that's black that literally didn't get the job because he's black. That just happened to somebody just within the last 2 hours.
I'm gonna have to check out, man. But I appreciate you letting me on the show to give me a better perspective on what's going on. I appreciate the brothers that's on here as well. Salute to you, man. I'll check with you guys a little later, man. Y'all stay alive and stay dangerous out here.
And we definitely gonna do a little bit more with your point because I was gonna bring up your point too. But I'm gonna tell you, just make sure you like the video and you subscribe to the channel because it only makes sense at the end of the day. It only makes sense. All right, have a great, safe day, brother.
Yeah, so Roger, while you're looking at the super chats, I want to just make this is something you guys have to understand when you're dealing with people who talk about black people and racism or make these accusations of racism by black people. You have to understand that part of the strategy of racism is that the people who making the accusations have to lie. Now their job is to get you to believe the lie, right? And you're supposed to just listen. Basically, I'm white, I said it, and you're not supposed to question it. So that's where the problem comes in for them. It's like, okay, now show me your evidence of black people actually being racist. Because remember, for hundreds of years, decades, but literally hundreds of years, they've been able to say stuff without it being challenged. Black people are this, black people are that, this, that, and the third. These are the rules. I make the laws, whatever. And if you don't follow my laws, then you know what? I'm going to harm you physically. And then, if you still resist, I'm just going to put you to I'm going to give you the eternal sleep. We're just going to put you to death. Like, so you got to remember, for centuries, they've been conditioned not to be challenged on anything. We're at a point now where the optics of, openly harming somebody because you tell a lie, or openly harming somebody because you challenge them, that doesn't look good. And that's part of the frustration. So they have to be able to lie. They not only that, have to lie, cheat, steal, and even take your life if necessary. And on top of that, part of the process of racism and the system is to be able to get away with all of these things. And because they're having trouble with this, and the reality is clashing with their ideology and their practices and their open mindset, that's their frustration. It's like, look, y'all need to just shut up and let us beat on you, okay? Shut up and let us take stuff from you, okay? Shut up and let us just, do whatever we want, and stop bothering us about all of this racism that we're inflicting on you. Like, why? I don't understand why you guys are complaining. Like, just shut up and take it already. And that's their frustration.
Yeah, that's the actual reason that they end up calling us, or what we're reacting to, racist, because when you believe in white supremacy, then that challenge, that is the thing that they're actually attacking. It's like, oh, I slapped you in the face And how dare you be offended for me slapping you in the face? And by the way, what slap? That never happened. That's the past. That was so long ago. That was a whole 20 years ago with that slap. Happened 2 seconds ago. Still affected by it. Your face is still red.
Yeah, I
Okay.
just want you guys to understand it, because what I see a lot of people do, I see black people get upset, they start screaming. I guess the people, they do, oh, he's crashing out. Look, just stay calm, understand that they are going to lie. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. Matter of fact, when they start doing it, I go, sometimes I already, as they're saying the lie, I already just help them finish their sentence. As soon as they say per capita, I'm all right. Okay, look, I already know where you're going. So just, I tell them the lie they're going to say, and then I go ahead and explain how, and then I go ahead and refute their lie.
Okay, let me deal with this, y'all. Let me deal with this. Now I got to deal with 2 from yesterday, and I got to apologize for No Placeholder and FLX, because they did send Cash App seen from yesterday, but I don't think I mentioned these on air because I got thrown off by the agent that showed up yesterday. Okay. So No Placeholder cracked the joke. He said, comfy streaming in my underwear, man. Well, yesterday, y'all, I was changing clothes, y'all. I was changing clothes. I really shouldn't have said it on air, but I was changing clothes, and moms came in, y'all. Moms came in. Not my mother, but she's like a second mother to me. If you come from good families and whatnot, you got people that's like second mothers to you. I don't never really call nobody a third or fourth mother. So all my extra mothers are like second mothers to me. She got keys to the place. She came in to use the bathroom, and I just happened to be here changing clothes when she came in. So my apologies about that. But shout out to No Placeholder for the joke. So moms came in to use the bathroom, which I'm with, because I do that myself. I ain't gonna use no public bathroom. So I totally get that. Now shout out to FLX. He said, agents on Roger's show. Thanks, Christian. Now
That's funny.
we were saying that everything's the black man's fault. And the black man that was being talked about a little bit yesterday was Christian. So it was Christian fault that agent showed up at my show yesterday. So shout out to FLX. I'm sorry I didn't get that on the air yesterday, y'all. I do apologize for that. I do apologize. Now, shout out to Roastmaster One. Appreciate you big time, y'all. Now, Roastmaster One came in at 6:26 a.m. And as I've said before, y'all, the Cash App over here at the Roger Report, which is $ the Roger Report, is open 24 hours a day. You ain't got to wait for no show to be going on to send that in. Just send it in, and of course we gonna say it on the air once it's seen. Now, shout out to Roastmaster One. He says you're very insightful and dropped $20.57. So shout out to Roastmaster One for that, and shout out for the Trail Bentley tax with the 57 cent, y'all. Hey, some of y'all think that 57 cent don't mean nothing, but 57 cents add up, okay? 57 cents adds up. So thank you for that, my brother. Now, shout out to Sarah B. Okay, now she dropped in this morning before the show started. Shout out to you, Sarah. You know what I'm saying? Y'all making me feel so much better, because when you can get it before the show starts, you know you're doing something right. So shout out to Sarah. She said, throwing in to start this Friday off right. So she was the first one to help me get off to it. Well, I can't say the first, the second one technically to help me get off to a good start today, because Roastmaster One did technically beat you in. So you know what? I guess he was the Highlander of the Cash App. You just missed it, Sarah. You just missed it. But I appreciate you. I definitely appreciate you. Shout out to my main man, Afro Merchant. Appreciate the 1057 on the Cash App. Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you. And shout out to you for the Trail Bentley tax. Thank you very much for that. And shout out to the one, the only Trail Bentley himself, who says it's Friday and you you ain't got ish to do. And he drops $5.57. And you know what, y'all? It is Friday. I got ish to do. I wish I could say that. I got ish to do. So I'm going to be ishing up some stuff after this broadcast. I'm going to be all up in some ish, okay? Because I'm definitely trying to enjoy myself tomorrow. I got a special thing going on tomorrow. So I got ish to do. I definitely got ish to do. Shout out to Afro Merchant. He said Cash App Highland starts at midnight. Technically, that would be right because that would be the next day. So shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. All right, y'all. Now we have all right, we got some more guests coming up. I'm bringing up SOS the interpreter. You came up one time, SOS the interpreter. You got kind of dropped somewhat quickly. Okay, hopefully that's not gonna happen today. That's not gonna happen today. So I don't remember exactly what was going on. All I'm gonna say to you, brother, make sure you own subject. Make sure you be respectful, because I got people with the power to pull people off stage, and if they say it, I don't question it. I just do it. Okay, because there was no point in me giving them that power if I ain't gonna let them use it. So just be respectful. I ain't saying you went last time, and just make sure you kind of own the subject, and it's all good because I ain't got nothing against you at the end of the day. So SOS, the interpreter, you have the floor. Go ahead with a good 2-minute opening statement. We can't hear you. SOS, the interpreter. Maybe he done walked away. I guess maybe he walked away. All right, y'all. Well, Champ, you back. If you got something to say, you can jump in right now, brother.
I'm good. I just had a connection loss briefly and everything else, so I'm good.
Okay. Well, you know what? Unmute right quick, Champ. Unmute right quick. Unmute yourself, Champ. Champ.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to see if that, you know what? That feedback done cleared up. That's good stuff. That feedback done cleared up. So that's good stuff. All right.
Yeah.
So you good to go now. All right. I guess SOS was having some connection issues because he done dropped off. I'm assuming he's coming back. Okay.
So while he's working that, Roger. So here's a couple of things, and look. So there's a couple of things that are happening here. So and understand, this is, I know we're a little bit lighthearted and kind of and semi-serious on this. We're kind of lighthearted but semi-serious on this. And here's the reality of this. The reason you're hearing all this talk about anti-white racism and there's racism against white people is that they're becoming their numbers are dwindling in the United States. They're concerned that the lower their numbers, the more attacks they're going to get, right? When really all they have to do is just behave themselves and leave everybody alone, and nobody ain't going to bother, right? But they want to be able to maintain power, authority, and to do what they want to do and just run amok and just mistreat people without any repercussions, right? So you're going to hear this, well, people are being racist against whites now. I can't stand all this anti-white rhetoric, and people hate whites. And I'm like, no, y'all just doing stuff that you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to do it, but you're getting challenged on it, and you want to be able to, do things you're not supposed to do. And that's your issue and problem. Just, be good citizens the way you expect everybody else to be good citizens, and you won't have any problems. And people will actually leave you alone. But the thing is that the reason they're building all of this up is to actually come up with laws that's going to protect them and their degenerate and criminal behavior against other people. They want to be able to harm people and want to legalize it the way they used to, right? Because that's what slavery was. That's what Jim Crow was. That's what, Jim Crow laws were about. Hey, look, we can openly discriminate and we can mistreat and abuse you. We can do all kinds of stuff that's nasty, and that's the law. So they want to bring those back, and if they build up enough rhetoric for it, and they have what they believe is evidence, they will actually use that, even though it's a lie. They will use that as basis to create legitimate laws that will, cause you to be criminalized for saying something negative or defending yourself from somebody who happens to be white who's attacking you. We were kind of laughing about this. But, understand that this used to be the reality in the United States. It took black people literally, doing civil disobedience and nonviolent protests and eventually violent protests and eventually just fighting back to get that to be changed in the United States. Like, that's what it took. So don't take this stuff lightly. They are serious about this. This is setting the stage for, okay, I want to be able to write laws to be able to do what I want to do, act a fool, harm other people, but not get punished for it. How can I do that? I claim that people are being racist against me.
Hey, Trev, I'll go a step further.
Huh?
I know what they're trying to do is that they're trying to do something similar as their population starts dwindling. They're trying to um, be like South Africa when they were the white minority, but yet they had their own version of Jim Crow laws and everything else, and they basically got to do everything they can, even though they were the minority and everything else. And what they did, though, too, was that they created a caste system and everything else. They got so-called tribes fighting amongst each other and everything else while they were doing the same. While at the same time, the white minority could go ahead and brutally harm a black person. Doesn't matter what tribe they were. They got quote unquote um, colored people and everything else divided within the black community. They got them fighting among each other, but they stand on top. So what they're trying to do here in America, and this is something I actually heard about this. This is when Elon Musk was in the Trump administration office. He actually was trying to create a caste system here in the United States and trying to, try to create something where children who are from mixed race parenting and everything else, biracial children, if you have a black father and a white mother and you have a biracial child, they're talking about creating a caste system for that here.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
would.
yeah.
Now I wanna stick something in, dig something. Man, now the reasons these things are being pushed is because you want acceptance. See, y'all, propaganda is pushed so people can gain acceptance. Okay? You don't get to put people in ovens until a society accepts something. Now, y'all know the person who put people in ovens. But the thing is, you got to think about how did he get to society to that point? What happened? Why would a society allow somebody to take a group of people and start sticking them in ovens? Okay. You had to mold the society and get the environment to go along with what your plans is, even if your plan is outrageous. So at this particular point, what they're trying to do is get black people to accept a bunch of nonsense about how we're racist, so we will agree with it. And once we agree, then it's just going to be that much easier to push anything that's going to be against us. Because the thing is, people want to use power sometimes, but sometimes they don't want to use blatant power because they know it'll be a pushback if you do something that's just too blatant and out the way. So for them to just say, yeah, we want to put these niggas back the way they used to be, they ain't going to just come out and say that because it's going to seem too out the way for the average person. Even though a lot of folks carry a lot of racist behavior, but in their hearts, they're not racist. Because if you ask them, I mean, who's the last person you ever, thought about or you seen where any type of conversation was like, well, are you racist? And they said, yeah. White folks don't admit to that from no general context. They know racism is happening, but none of them think they participating in it. That's the general consensus you have, white folks. So they're trying to get the environment to accept that them niggas should be handled. And that's what's really going on. Now,
Yes.
I got to say, shout out to Black Sick the Community. Okay. He's made some interesting comments, and I want you to kind of give us a real expression. Now, if you want to hit the link and come up, that's what I really want you to do. Hit the link, come up, because you did come in the comment section, and the first comment I saw from you, it says, "Hell effing yes, Black Americans are definitely the most racist and communist cohort in the Western Hemisphere." Now, blessing the community, you're making a claim that Black folks are racist. Can you come and explain to us something that can show that we're racist? Because that's literally what I've said no one's doing. Okay. How are Black folks racist? Can you explain it? Okay, I'm not saying say a bunch of words. I'm saying, can you actually explain how Black folks are racist? That's what I'm asking you to do. If you can do that, I'm welcoming you to do so. Okay. And I'm gonna just say shout out to Black Uru Strikes. I see a comment from him. I'm just gonna read it anyway. He said, if you look at history of Europe, that wasn't as hard to do as you might believe. Oh, well, I missed the context of this one. So I don't know what he was referring to right then. But no, this was just said. So he might have was talking about what you was just talking about. Because he just said this one.
I think he was talking about like what you were talking about with the mustache man, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, probably. We're
Hey,
assuming that's what you're
Raj,
talking about, Black Rock. That's
Raj,
probably what it was. Hmm.
hey, Raj, that was very interesting that you said that. Because we've if we go been I've been to California, I've seen some racism, and I've seen Latinos, Mexicans practicing racism towards black folks and everything else, and other ethnic groups like East Indians, even some in the Latino community in South Florida, with with Cubans, Puerto Ricans, and Dominicans, unfortunately, practicing racism towards black folks and everything else. So, it's just it's see, like I said, if they're trying to create some type of a caste system similar like that in South Africa, where they pit, you know, groups of people to fight among each other and everything else, saying that this group is by practicing, white supremacy and everything else.
I mean,
Yeah,
well, that caste system idea was started back in slavery over here,
Yeah,
so I would say they're trying to reintroduce something to somebody who may not know it, but that started in slavery.
yeah.
So that's hundreds of years old idea over here.
yeah. Let me add
Hey,
another dimension to this, if you don't mind. If it's well, I mean, let me go ahead and finish your point, then I'll go ahead and do it.
yeah, that person you just said, I guess he was a troll or something, but I am interested in if he's going to come up here and chat with us. And
Nah, he's been around before. I've seen him beforehand, and I ain't gonna say he a regular, but I've definitely seen him before. And he says a lot of stuff that's kind of off or whatever the case is. But my thing is, since I saw it, and it's like a white person saying y'all are racist. Look, I don't mind
yeah,
nobody giving their thought process, their opinions, their conclusion. Just do it in a respectful way is all I ask. Now, maybe they white. Because they could always be a white person, you know what I'm saying? You never know. It could always be a white. But have I ever stopped white people from talking on my shows? No. Only if you start acting like a white supremacist have I ever put a white person off. I've had a few white folks come on my panel. They speak, long as they respectful. I let them rock. Okay. But at the end of the day, whether he's white or black, whether it's a him or her, whatever the case is, because I don't actually know, but I've seen him around. Okay. I don't actually know. The issue that we're dealing with today is, are black people racist? And can he express that black people are racist?
Well,
can you
so
explain it? Can you
well,
explain?
I don't think he can.
here's another
Yeah,
irony to this whole black people being racist concept, right? Is that you'll have non-black people, specifically white people, sit here and tell you there's no such thing as racism. You guys are always whining and complaining. Well, I don't see no racism. Now, how can there be racism against y'all if y'all are telling black people, especially you've been doing it for decades, to stop even? First of all, you whine too much about. There's too much complaining about racism. There's no such thing as racism. There's no systemic racism. So how did we get the racism against white people? So you guys don't even have, you guys can't even substantiate or legitimize your argument because you're so self-contradictory.
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, when you think about it, it makes perfect sense. You went from a structure, a dominant power structure where they can overtly, directly end up kind of dealing with their power, like forcing the power, to a more indirect system where they have to deal with utilizing words to end up shaping your framing your reality, and changing it from what it actually is, doing that distortion thing. And then now we're kind of moving on into an era of algorithms and algorithmic power. And it'd be nice if Nameless was able to jump in and explain that algorithmic power paradigm to it.
Yeah,
Now, I want to address something real quick, y'all.
yeah.
Now, blessing the community. I'm gonna read this, but I'm gonna say, if you want to be a part of the conversation, you're gonna have to come up here, because I don't. If y'all have paid attention to me, I don't like really talking to people from a chat. I just don't like it. You know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't allow the show to flow as smoothly as it can. I do it here and there, but I'd rather people just come up if they really got something to say. Now I'm gonna say, blessing the community. This is the response he gave, because I did ask, how do you explain it? So he did it in the chat. Okay. And this is what he came up with. Black Americans challenge and even erase the blackness of other Black Americans who vote Republican. Yes, it's a very stupid answer. There's no proof of this answer. Okay, because ain't nobody who became Republican stopped being black. Okay, if you don't believe me, I mean, there's been many black famous Republicans out there, and somehow they didn't get to stop being black just because they was Republican. So yes, this is a very silly answer. All right. He also says, well, let me, because he said it in one sentence: Black Americans challenge and even erase the blackness of other Black Americans who vote Republican or are pro-police, are upper middle class, marry outside of the race. And this is an outright lie.
Can I answer some of this?
Let's sure, but let me just put it out here. This is an outright lie. What black woman told another black woman she ain't black no more because she married some white guy? Bro, I hear you, but this ain't sticking, bro. You throwing something against the wall trying to see if it's gonna stick. What does the Republican Party got to do with whether you black or not? Ain't neither party for you. So what they got to do whether you black or white? When did anybody who vote Republican stop being treated like black folks treated? When did that ever happen? It's been plenty of black Republicans out there. When did that ever happen? So yeah, bro, that was silly. Okay. Now I am gonna say this, y'all. At the Rise Report Live, I always encourage people to make whatever their public statements are. And even if you put something in the chat, it's a public statement. I encourage everybody to make intelligent public statements. He could have said whatever he wanted. This is what he came up with. This is an extremely weak argument, and it's silly at the end of the day. This is some childish stuff, real talk. I didn't see you around, so I expected that you was gonna really come with something intelligent. That's what I really expected, because I've seen you around. Okay, I done had multiple channels. I didn't see you at those other channels. I didn't see you at other folks' channels when I used to go look in other places a lot, whatever. I seen you at other folks, so I really did expect something intelligent from you to say, okay, well, we're gonna have to really debate. Man, this is just being silly. Come on, man, for real.
I mean, you can come up and defend it and try and give us like credible evidence. That thing about being pro-police, black people actually support the police. The issue with police is when they don't do what they're supposed to do and they violate procedure and they get excessive for no reason other than the fact that they're just abusing their authority. That's the issue. But police are fine. We actually need law enforcement.
And black people have never had an issue with a cop doing his actual job.
We have black police officers, by the way. We have black police officers in this space, in this Black manosphere space. We have black police officers in my family. Like, the issue isn't really that being a cop makes you anti-black or being a Republican makes you anti-black. It's the anti-blackness that we have a problem with, and this person is kind of conflating the issues.
So I'm going to tell you what the issue.
Real quick. Landon is asking Roger, is it actually okay to block people? I don't want nobody blocked unless they're just being absolute. If they just come in here being racist, okay, they being like super racist, yeah, block that type of person, okay? But somebody who we disagree with, no. I don't think it's cool to block nobody just because you disagree with them or anything like that. If you're gonna have legitimate discussions, especially that can help many a listener, you gotta let everybody be able to make a point, even if you don't like the point that they come from. So unless they're doing like some sexual stuff, like they pushing in sexual stuff or some super racist stuff, then no, let them rock. Everybody can have an opinion, even if it's a dumb one. You know what I'm saying? That's just the real world that I as an adult, I have to adjust to the fact that dummies are allowed to have opinions too. I'm not calling any specific person a dummy. I'm just saying dummies are actually allowed to have opinions too. Dummies got rights.
Well, you can be intelligent and actually say something stupid. So, I mean, because you're either wrong or you're trying to defend a point that you can't defend. So here's the issue that people are having with black Republicans, and understand, I got nothing against black Republicans because I run into them on a regular basis, right, or periodically, and essentially, what they do is they will talk about a problem that's affecting the black community in a negative way. We get that, okay? Now the problem is they never really get to the actual root of the problem. It's like, oh, we're going to talk about fatherlessness. We got to do something about it. Okay, yeah, we get all of that. Now, why is it happening in the first place? Oh, we got to do something about black people in this crime. Okay, so fine, got it. There's a socioeconomic problem. Okay, so what's the actual problem? What's going on there? Oh, the drugs. Oh, okay, so so how did that problem get started? And what happens is, and this is the issue that you have with, and I'm not, again, it's not just black Republicans.
And I'm gonna say, yeah, this is because you're really referring to a very small group of black Republicans that get online and say a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah.
And what they do is they try to protect white people from doing wrong to black people.
Exactly.
That's a very small group, and of course, we should have a problem with any black person who's cool with white people doing something to black people. If they're good with that, why would we be good with them? That don't even make sense.
Well, the ones that I'm actually, referencing are, and I've actually done this, and I've actually been in discussions with these folks. They'll be like, look, you can't talk about a black problem without talking about white people. Can you do that? And I'm like, no, you can't. Like, because what happens is within 3 or 4 steps, you can trace the problem to something that white, and I'm not saying white people specifically, I'm talking about the white-led United States government. They talk about fatherlessness. Okay, so understand, black fatherlessness, absent fathers, is a state-sanctioned United States policy. That's state-sanctioned policy. That's not, so you have people complaining about it, but they've done everything they can to make sure black fathers are not in.
No. What they do is they do everything they can to make sure a woman is not with the black father.
Yeah.
Let's keep it on point. We don't have an issue with fatherlessness. The father's got a home. If you're not in the home, that's a you issue, not a father issue. He lives somewhere. You supposed to be in his home if you have his children. White people would rather pay for a black woman, especially, to live somewhere else other than with the father of the children. White people sponsor that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to make sure there's a proper framework on that. No. The state come in to pay her to not go to the father's home. That's not a fatherless problem. That's we want to move the mother problem.
Well, so Roger, when you talk to a black Republican who actually says that, they will actually admit that it's a systemic issue. Yeah, they'll say the black women married the government and kicked the fathers out of the home, which is, okay, you're right. They motivated women to have babies without husbands. Okay, so if that's the problem, then get rid of that policy.
Hold fast. And that's why I want to make sure stuff gets framed correctly. They don't kick fathers out the home. The father got the same home he had before she got pregnant. The issue is they're willing to pay her not to be in his home. Fathers ain't been kicked out. They still live exactly what they was living before she got pregnant.
Going back into the macro, what I think that the brother H. Rev is saying is that he's getting down to root cause analysis, and that the people that are talking about these things are bad faith actors that are engaged in respectability politics instead of actual respectability.
No, I agree with his sentiment all day long. What I'm doing is you got to frame stuff the way it's actually going. People try to get you to argue stuff that ain't even happening because they'll say fatherless home like the father ain't in the home. The father got a home. So the question is, why ain't the woman in?
Why ain't the mother there? Yeah. So the state is paying the mother to actually not be with the father.
That's when you bring that out. And I'll just say, when you bring out the fact that the father has a home, now you have to deal with why the mother ain't there, which is, white people paying her to be somewhere else.
But Roger, black Republicans, and not even just black ones, all of them will admit to that. But now here's what they do: they blame those policies on the Democrats.
The thing is, whether they're Republican or not, that don't even actually make a difference. The issue is anybody who wants to can have an issue with something like that. You're literally paying a mother to not be with the father. Anybody on any side. And you know what? There's people who are sensitive, okay, because they party people. And if you actually look at American politics, it's an extremely silly thing to do to be a party person. No one should guarantee a party they're going to get their vote. Anybody who doesn't make a party work for your vote, you're slow. Maybe you're not slow in other areas. You might be a fantastic engineer. Maybe you're a fantastic surgeon, but you're slow on politics if you don't think people are supposed to earn your vote every election. You're slow. You don't really get politics. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
So I don't want to make it no Republican issue. It's just people say stupid stuff, and then they got an issue with the fact that people can figure out that they're saying something stupid. And you don't get to hide behind Republican just because you're saying something stupid.
I agree with you, Roger. It's a problem with all of the politicians, all the parties. It doesn't really matter. They all do the same thing to actually harm black people. The thing is that you have people who, and this is honestly, this is my only issue with this. I fully expect that out of non-black people. I expect them to lie, cheat, steal, and do what they need to do in order to maintain their system. I fully expect that. What I don't understand, and this is especially black men who do it. I know they're getting paid, so that's why they do it. So they don't have any problem selling out their own race. But the thing is that they see you exactly the same as, when they start talking about black people being racist, they're talking about you too. When they start talking negatively about black people, they're talking about you too. I actually was on a discussion, and a white woman literally said to a black person on the panel, a black man who was supporting her, he said, she said, "You're one of the good ones." Basically, I'm like, dude, at least get paid or something. I am not Roger. I'm telling you, I
Don't
know
stereotype
I know you try to stay away from anecdotal experiences.
You was a good little nigga.
I'm telling you, this woman literally said that. She said, "You're one of the good ones," and I said, my response was, "Oh, congratulations, you got a shout out from the white woman saying you one of the good ones." How you feel about that? Like, people actually, and the dude didn't blink, he didn't even challenge it. He just kept right on and slurping her on. Like you guys, when y'all do stuff like that, I want y'all to just consider how ridiculous you look, and that's why nobody's taking away your blackness. Nobody's arguing that you're not black. Nobody's debasing you or trying to slander you or any of that stuff. We just want you to realize, or we're trying to help you realize, whether you realize it or not, that you look foolish arguing for people who wouldn't put you out if you were on fire. They'd step over you if you were dying in the street. They look at you and go, just like they do with any other black person. Like that's how bad it is with some of these people.
And I'm gonna just say quickly, dumb black folks get persecuted or talked about by black folks in all kinds of ways. You don't get to hide behind the fact that you're a Christian. No, it's you talking stupid. You don't get to hide behind the fact that you're Republican. No, it's you talking stupid. You don't get to hide behind the fact that you're a Democrat. Because it's just you talking stupid. You don't get to hide behind the fact that you went to this college because you talking stupid. Black folks been called out for talking stupid at all kinds of situations. So this is what I'm saying. For somebody to say, well, y'all persecute me because I'm black and because I'm Republican. How many black Democrats have been persecuted? That's why I said it was a dumb statement. Because if you had it where Republicans were getting persecuted and Democrats were not getting persecuted for saying stupid stuff, it would make sense. But when you persecute both sides, saying, well, I'm on this side, what are you saying? Because the same thing happened to the dumb Democrats getting talked about, just like the dumb Republicans getting talked about. When you say stupid stuff, people are going to throw stones at you. That's just the way it works. I'm not even saying it's cool. I'm saying that is the reality of saying stupid stuff in public. People proverbially going to throw a rock at you.
All of that was related, but it's a little bit off topic, so I don't want to stay on that too long. But back to the main point, which is, are black people racist? So this is the other argument that you get for black people.
And you know what? Let me just say this real quick. Now notice, when everything he said, he couldn't give out one concrete thing that black people actually do that affects anybody. He didn't give out one concrete thing. He talking about feelings. He's talking about perception. He ain't said one thing that actually gets done. Okay, that's called results, people. He didn't give one actual result. He's just talking about feelings and perceptions. But go ahead. I don't want you to lose your point.
Yeah, so that's where they get caught up. So here's the thing. So now white people will argue that programs like DEI and affirmative action are racist against white people. And black people not only black people, but other people of color, but black people specifically, unqualified black people are getting jobs that white people are being locked out of. They call that racism. That's and now I know they know that they're lying and they sound foolish when they say it, but they will legitimately try to convince you that that's being racist against them. DEI and affirmative action are racist programs that harm white people and enrich black people and people of color at the expense of white people. Now, here's the problem with that. Had there not been any open discrimination against black people in the first place, you wouldn't need a correction to the actual problem. See, this is one thing you got to do. Again, you got to suspend reality. You got to lie. You got to cheat. You got to steal, and you got to dismiss history. What we're going to do is we're going to ignore 400 plus years of open discrimination against the black population, black men specifically. We denied everything we could to black men. We barely let them get anything. These men barely could survive in the country that white people owned, controlled, ruled over, and just put their rule with an iron fist. But now that we've done that for 400 plus years, we got 50, 60 years of effort to try to counter that and fix it. And then we're going to go, oh, well, that's discrimination against white people. So now that's reverse racism. Like this is their legitimate argument. It's a bad faith argument. It's a stupid argument. But this is their legitimate argument. Now, the other part to that too is, and I know other people are coming up, so I'll try to close this out real quick, is that the thing is that, and this is, and you're right, Roger, as soon as somebody mentions DEI or affirmative action, I'll automatically go to over almost 70% of those programs go to white women and by default to white men. So y'all are benefiting from affirmative action and DEI more than any other racial group, but you're at the same time, you're sitting here whining about it. Again, your logic, it's contrary to your actual argument. You can't even sustain or support your argument in a logical and legitimate way, because the programs of DEI and affirmative action literally reward you just for being white.
Whoa, Black Guru's here.
With Jado being slick, Jado, he gonna let Black Guru come up there and gonna come in right behind him so he can, benefit a little bit, because Jado, me and him doing something right now, so he gonna come right behind Black Guru on some slick stuff. And then we got Truth Teller coming in. No, I'm just messing with Truth. I'm just messing with Jado. He ain't doing nothing.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm just playing, y'all. I'm just playing. But Black Guru is here, so of course he's gonna get the mic next. You have the floor, my brother. Great to see you.
Morning, Black Guru.
Black Guru, you still on mute if you talk. Okay, we've seen you unmute. I don't hear a thing.
Still silent. Now you're
okay. I just heard something.
Very faint, very faint.
Coming in clear?
We heard you right there. We heard you right there.
Hopefully you guys hear me.
Oh, there you go. Now that's the Black Guru. Yeah, you good now. You good now.
Okay. We have allowed, and Kevin really quite eloquently kind of expanded on what I was going to say, or part of what I say, allowed a kind of false equivalency to develop on the rhetoric regarding racism. We used to understand the difference, for example, between, let's say, chauvinism and misogyny. We understand the difference between bigotry and racism. Like anyone can be bigoted. Like anyone can say, I don't particularly like this particular group of people, or I have a particular preference for my group of people for et cetera reasons. That is not the same as burning down churches and lynching people. But we've allowed racism, and white people are very apt at changing the definitions and meanings of things that were initially used against black people, and they turned it into they changed these things into something that supposedly referenced to some broader issue, sociological issue that has nothing at all to do with the origins of the real word. Racism, it is racism is destructive. It destroys families, destroys communities, it destroys the future of people. That is not the same. I don't like white people, or I don't like Mexican people, or whatever, but yet I'm not doing anything to those people. I'm not doing anything to harm those people or prevent those people from doing whatever they want to do in life. Those are not the same things. That's not the same things as redlining people out of the ability to buy homes. That's not the same thing as bulldozing entire towns to build the Pentagon on top of them, for example. But so it's this these rhetorical lies that they tell regarding the issue of racism. Whenever we talk about racism, we historically have talked about what things that people have done, not things that people felt or liked or disliked or whatever. We've talked about what people have done to destroy other people. And it's high time we, as intelligent Black people, especially intelligent Black men, re-emphasize the truth of the issue and what that particular word means. In my view, the only victims of racism in this country have been Black people and maybe obviously Native American people, although there's some growing debate as to whether or what percentage of those people were actually Black. But I mean, other in a material, sustained way, there have been groups of people who have had some problems here and there, but there's not been any ongoing, almost sort of, historical, multi-hundred-year process of specifically trying to destroy people, to destroy a group of people. And that is racism, not all this other stuff. Not, I don't like this guy because he's a Republican or whatever bullshit.
I'm gonna say, way to come back. Well said. Well said. All right, now, Jado, since you got to follow Black Guru. There you go.
Hey, what's up, fellas? Hope y'all doing well, man. Everybody in the chat. Replay gang, what's happening? Man, I don't know if I will be going too far with this. I'm just trying to be frank and honest. I'm not trying to offend anyone, and I may not offend anyone. And when I speak, man, I'm speaking including myself, man. I don't know, like, I think we have kind of been satisfied with appealing to the morality of other folks. You know what I mean? White folks that don't look like Black folks or whatever. And I think we're kind of satisfied with that. And because I think for any group as an aggregate to get power, don't they have to be racist in a sense? And again, look, this is just stuff I've been kind of pondering. So I'm not saying I have the answers. I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, doesn't anybody get power by subjugating, dominating, maybe terrorizing other groups, and they get power that way? Isn't that how it's happened throughout history? And if we take pride in not being racist, then doesn't that mean we would never get that type of power as a group, as an aggregate? Is that required or is it not required? So
It's
I think okay. And
I didn't realize you wouldn't answer. Sorry, my bad.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of rhetorical. I mean, yeah, we can debate it, but I'm just saying. So I guess I think we're going to be. I think we're just going to be transitioning. I think we're at maybe the infancy stages of transitioning away from racism and it'll be another type of ism that dominates the world, the country, and the world. I don't know. Again, that'll be. I'll probably be long gone. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, it's. I don't know. I just thought that was required. And we were discussing like the N word. We were discussing the N word the other day, and it's like white people don't have to use that word to practice racism, man. Like it's all, most of this stuff is covert. I mean, it's covert. It's very undercover, so they can do many other things, and they would never have to utter that word in public ever, and can still be very effective or whatever. So. I don't know. So I guess another question I ponder on my own. If we Black people, if we did hold all the power, would we then be racist. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that we don't hold all the power within this country, then we can't be racist. So we just kind of appeal to, oh, hey, we're all just whatever. You're just humans. It's one race, the human race or whatever. And have you just been relegated to that and we're kind of satisfied with that? Do we really want the power, and will we do the things to get the power? I'd say probably not. But anyway, yeah, that's all I'm pondering. So in answer to the show's question, I don't know. I don't think so, or whatever. I don't think black people are racist, but I don't know for sure. Anyway, I'll end right there. Thanks.
All right. Before you go, Truth Teller, let me just say real quick. Shout out to the real Jesse Lee Peterson. And he says, what you're saying is racist.
That's messed up.
Shout out to the real Jesse Lee Peterson, my brother. And I'm gonna try to get you taken care of this weekend. I was trying to do it yesterday to get you unblocked, but I still couldn't do it yesterday. I'm gonna try to get this taken care of this weekend, brother. So hopefully by Monday, when I come back to one of these shows, we got you good to go. Hopefully by Monday. Okay. Go ahead, Truth Teller. You got it, my brother.
The real Jesse. Shout out to Uru. The reason why Uru's audio wasn't working is because you ain't play his theme song. You got to pay respect to the elder when you step into the room, Roger. You gotta make sure you come correct.
My apology. You right, brother. You right. My apologies.
Real talk. To kick in the door.
Yeah, real talk.
Well, I'm gonna go a slightly different path. Black people can't be racist. There's a couple reasons why. The system won't allow it. The current system we're in won't allow it. Like practically and physically won't allow that to occur. And secondly, we are too good of a people to be that way. Our people have suffered that for centuries now. Our first thought is, I don't want that to affect other people. When most other groups don't even think that way. They don't care what affects other people. But our people, the first thought we have is, you shouldn't be treated that way. It should be fair. Even to our enemies, which is kind of absurd, but we've been doing that for the last couple of 100 years too. We're just not that bad of a people to function that way. So no, we can't be, and the system won't physically allow us to be that way. And you don't need to be racist to have power. Honestly, most powerful people in the past didn't use race to have that power. Manipulation, lying, certain forms of classification is usually based on wealth. That's more than effective to harbor power and control over people. Most people want wealth, and once you have wealth, you have the tools to do whatever it is that you want. So race is just, race is just these folks' little twist on what their preferences are. And, it's based on whatever weaknesses they got floating around in their brains to begin with. The last part I'll also mention is racism has nothing more to do than stupid people having an easy way to identify targets. Now, the reason why Black people are the easiest target, well, one, you can see them clearly, right? You put a whole bunch of people in a room, and if they're Hispanic, if they're Middle Eastern, you might not be able to tell the difference of who's who and who's from where. Have you ever been in a room and there's somebody talking and you can't tell if they're Latino, a Middle Eastern, somebody from Turkey or Asia in that area? You can't really tell. You ever seen a Mexican that got, Asian eyes? And you're like, yo, where are you from? And they tell you Mexico. And you're like, no. Right? A Native American, an actual real Native American. Has everybody ever met one of them? You don't really know they're Native because you don't actually know what a Native American really look like. So when you meet one, you're like, yo, where are you from? You swear they're from the Middle East or Asia somewhere. They're like, nah, I'm from this tribe over here in Oklahoma somewhere. So, that is the easiest way to depict Black people is because of our phenotype and our skin tone. You could say, okay, you Black, which is why here in the U.S., when you were mulatto, you were considered black and white. There was no other mixture. This whole other mixture stuff is coming in recent times. Mulatto meant black and white because that was the only two races that was kicking it. If you was Indian and black, you was black. If you was white and Indian, you was white. And if you was black and white, you mulatto, which meant you was black. But you just go over the gate, South America, mulatto means you ain't black no more. Mestizo, you not black. So they had that option of having their offspring become not black. That's not how it works here. So that's why it's easiest to make us to classify us into a group that everybody can now target. Not only that, because of our genes, we can basically transition every other group into our group. So that's the other part of why we're not racist either. So biologically, can't be the case.
Well, so there's some other.
One moment. I want to make sure I give him at least one more chance in case he didn't know. SOS the interpreter. I've been called you. I don't know if he was away. I said you can jump in when you get back. I want to make sure you understand you got a clear chance to jump in right now if you're there. SOS, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, well, go ahead and get open.
I didn't hear when you said I could jump back in because I had jumped off to fix the problem I was having.
Oh, understandable. But since you hadn't said nothing, everybody else done said something. I wanted to double back.
No, I was just waiting. I was waiting for you to introduce me back to the room because
got you
when you say that. That's
what this is your introduction right now, my brother. Go ahead and make your statement. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. And in regard to the question that you're asking, no, we as Black people, we cannot be racist. The word race, and if you could look at my name, it's the interpreter, because the language is something that I take seriously, and I know majority of our people were not educated in the higher level of the language. So most of the words what is known as the political language that these people are using, 95% of the population cannot interpret it. Okay, the word race is a compaction of the word racket. Okay, and we are the people who are being victimized by this racket that these groups are running. Okay, and we don't have a racket against them. Okay, so we cannot be racist at all. That's my answer to the question.
Okay, interesting. All right, now, H-Rebels, I cut you off, so I'm gonna let you go ahead because I want you to lose your thought.
Oh yeah, no, real quick, no issue, no problem. Yeah, so look, I know what Jado was asking was kind of rhetorical. Do we really want to do the stuff that it takes to assume power? Look, so the issue is not getting power, right? The difference with Black people is that we understand that if we gain and control power or ascend to power in an illegitimate way, then it's always going to be challenged. That's the problem that white people are having. That's the problem they've had since really the 1600s, right? Is that they've actually put themselves, they didn't achieve power in a legitimate way. They didn't create a format that everybody could go, okay, we want y'all to be in charge. Because if we had a legitimate format and we followed that format, then white people would be in charge for a little bit. Maybe the natives will be in charge for a little bit. Black people at some point, Asians here and there, or there'd be a mix of that, right? That's not what they're doing. What they said was, look, we're going to create a system. We're going to always be in charge. We're going to figure out a way to maintain that system. And we're going to always have Black people at the bottom. So that's why they always get pushback. And we know that if we did the exact same thing, it's not so much that we don't have it in us, because I imagine if we get pushed to the point, then we actually get to that point, we do that. But my thing is that we understand there's legitimacy that goes along with being in power. And if you put yourself in that position artificially, then you're going to always constantly be challenged. You're going to always figure out a way to fight back against it. And you're always going to be seen as illegitimate. And that's the fear. Like, you got the power, but you didn't get it the right way based on the systems that we put in place, the Constitution, all of these laws, the voting process, all this other stuff. Like, they just don't have the power legitimately. So we know better than to actually try to do that, because we're going to get the same pushback and essentially a rebellion and revolution that they're getting. So we just look at it from that perspective, or at least that's one of the ways I look at it.
Hey, Age Rebels, who creates the rules to say whether or not something was legitimate?
Well, so
according to who?
Well, no. What people do is people of different groups together and go, you know what, these are going to be the rules. This is how we're going to operate and function as a society.
Now let's
Like who?
everybody respect these actual rules. And then
What group? What group of people came up with the standard?
well,
Who
again,
determines it?
well, again, the white population did, right? They
Right.
came up with that, and they start putting laws in place. 1790 Naturalization Act, the Homestead Act. All of these acts that actually benefit them and them only, right? The thing is that they know they had the reason they had to do that was they knew they were illegitimate. The thing is, what they could have done is they could have showed up with the natives. They could have said, "Hey, look, y'all are here. We would like to be here too. You know what? You guys already have something that's working for you, but we want to be here too. How can we work together to come up with something that's equitable and fair for all of us so that we can all be happy together?" And then with the black population could have came in and said, "Hey, look, we know we need workers, but we're not going to force you to do it for free under the threat of punishment and death. But we're going to invite you in, pay you a fair wage, and then you can be part of the process." Like that's how society, that's how the United States is supposed to look. That's what they keep professing. The problem is that they've never lived up to that promise.
Right. It's called trickery. It's called. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm just posing. Like, is the problem that we're not racist? And I'm asking this humbly. I'm not trying to act like I'm
Well,
know it all.
I think I might be able to help with that one there.
Hold fast, because I got
Use atomic bomb. What's that?
I think that was Black Guru, but Black Guru. Now you're going in and out. I heard you trying to say something.
I'm going in and out.
Yeah, we heard that. We just heard you say, yeah, we hear you right at this moment. And see, now we don't hear you.
I just think the creation.
No, you were just pausing. You were pausing. We hear you. Go ahead.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you.
I just think the creation and the use of nuclear bombs, to me, says that white people are something different from the rest of us. And I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure if pure human beings would do that.
No, but
because
my brother,
because they're willing to engage in a level of extinction level murder of the people. I'm not talking about warfare. I'm talking about potential extinction level of the species. Warfare puts them at a great advantage against, because it really is just how far are you willing to go to be in power? Are you willing to destroy Are you willing to destroy everything to be in power?
Thank you, Black Guru, for inputting. That's what I'm kind of getting at. Like, I'm trying to get.
One second. We got another guest that came up, so I gotta let him get the mic. And today he's going by Unblock Red Pill Sleeper Cell. Brother, I'm unblocking you as soon as I can. I've been trying to get you unblocked, but you have the flow, my brother. You have the flow. I'm literally on the computer trying to get you unblocked now, just so you know, but you got the flow.
What's up, Patton Channel? I totally agree with Uru. Like Dr. Nelly Fuller said, if you don't understand racism, everything will totally confuse you. They operate from a paranoia point of survival. Everything is their threat, even their own. They use racism as a tool with poor white trash they don't even give a fuck about to go after everybody else, and they don't even give a fuck about them. They hate their own kind also. Like you said, Uru, I don't even think they're human or from this planet. And my mother's white, and I'm saying it. So, I mean, it is what it is. If you look at their pathology and their behavior, look, if y'all like reading, read the book Urugu. That's all I got to say. I rest my mic.
I think you put a good point in there when you brought up Brother Neely Fuller, because he said, I think I recall him saying like multiple times that we want to replace the system of white supremacy with a system of justice, and basically we're up against the Injustice League. The last part I kind of, added in.
Well, to understand the consciousness of these people, you have to go back to what is known as the battle between the ant and the termite. We as black people are a representation of the ant, and they are a representation of the termite. That's why they have the movie known as the Terminator. You understand? Our consciousness, if you go back to Africa where you talk about the acacia tree, where the ant and the acacia tree have this symbiotic relationship. It's not so for the termite. Their whole culture is a culture that is based on death. It's just that the people cannot read. When I say cannot read, I don't want you guys to take it as a disrespect. The fact of the matter is the word read, R-E-A-D, is relative to the word rod, R-O-D, just as the word heat, H-E-A-T, is relative to the word hot. Moses used the rod to part the Red Sea. So that tells you when you use a fishing rod also to fish, you cast your rod out, the bait goes below the water. Okay, so reading is about going deep. Majority of the population were taught to surf their language, to only read what is on the surface. It's just like if you take the word IRS, most people is just going to say Internal Revenue Service. When if you go deep in the word, it says a earth, and a earth is used to carry the dead, my brother. Okay, if you look on the currency, all the people that's on it are dead people. Okay, the IRS and the whole system of the West is a system that is based on debt. That's why they tell you they are the Terminator. We are the ant people. It's two different consciousness.
Well,
I don't think I have a.
I will say I can agree with the fact that they, from a majority standpoint, they do seem like a very different group. So, and I definitely understand why Black rules say he got a hard time believing they even human. Because how do I see white people as a group? They simply seem to be about killing, stealing, and destroying. They don't seem to be about nothing else. They just don't seem to be about nothing else. Not from a general perspective. Now I understand there'll be a white person. I'm not saying every single one of y'all are, because when you talk about groups of people, everybody ain't gonna be the exact same. But I'm just saying, as a group, that seems to be all white people have done. And I'm saying in this country now, if people can start arguing stuff from away from America, the results don't really change. It's like that's what they do. That's who they are as a people. It's their identity. And Black Rule makes a good point that I'm willing to kill us all. Okay, I gotta win. I'm willing to eliminate all of us just so I can win.
Yeah.
I'm willing to lose myself so you can't win.
The Civil War is actually an example of that. The United States Civil War is actually an example of that. They're willing to tear this whole country apart to figure out who's going to control the slaves. Like that, they were willing to do that to themselves. Like, look, we got one group that don't agree, we got another group that doesn't agree. There's a group in the middle. We want to keep this way of life, and y'all ain't gonna stop us. They were willing to tear this whole country apart. And the only people who actually saved the country, by the way, were Black men, by the way. So there's that. But my whole thing is that they're not beyond this whole. They're willing to actually, it's unfortunate, but I actually truly believe at this point they're willing to destroy this whole planet if they can't control it.
I do want to say this.
It's not even mutually assured destruction. It's like, if I can't have it, nobody can have it.
Right. So I'm not gonna step to the point because I have some other beliefs, no proof, but I have some other beliefs about the origins of them folks. But I ain't gonna say it on here because I'm gonna sound like I got a tinfoil kufi on. But but what I am gonna say is, tactically speaking, their efforts are masterful, and they're not basing it on how they feel or how somebody else might feel, or how is it going to pan out? How am I going to look to other people in the future? They're only worried about themselves and their own. And honestly, that's the way you should move when your whole goal is to have power. This is our handicap. I know we want to make it seem like it's problematic as a human being to function this way, but this is the best way to function if you want to have power. And they're not even doing it 100% well. They're just doing it. They're doing it well compared to everybody else not doing it. Is what it really boils down to. They're not even tactically sound themselves because they're not really facing anybody that's taking a tactical approach against them.
Well, I gotta say, if you just look at this, presenting this as a show, this is probably about the last show I should ever have to present, but because of propaganda working so well and black folks buying into a bunch of BS from time to time, and I got to address something like this. Our black people, this I should never have to do a show like this because nobody should even believe this is possible. You know what I'm saying? Nobody should be. You see how we act? Ain't nowhere in the world you can really attach racism to us. And the thing is, to kind of condense what Black Rule was saying earlier, it's about results at the end of the day. What results did you make happen? Black folks ain't did nothing to nobody to make them have a bad result about anything. I'm gonna say, yeah, and as far as power and pursuits are concerned, there's a fair way to go, then there's an unfair way to go. The reason white folks have power is because they cheat. They'll give you rules and say, let's all play by these rules, and then they cheat. It's that simple at the end of the day.
They kick over the rules themselves.
Yeah, the rules don't mean nothing to them. And even as a group of people, they are more than willing to get rid of plenty of their own in order for the people who are doing a little bit better can feel good about themselves. White folks ain't got no problem throwing away a good percentage of their people, and all they're gonna say is, well, you should have been up here with us. We on this level. Yeah, you couldn't get to this level. Yeah, we may have needed you to be on this level. We may have needed to stand on your shoulders so we can be here, but you didn't get here, so we don't care about you either. That's how they get down. There are some powerful white people with very ugly attitudes against poor white people. Okay, they think it's you in this country. You ain't supposed to be poor. And if you as a white person make an argument, well, based on how the country's set up, somebody got to be poor and somebody got to be rich. And all they're going to say, well, you should have been one of us.
Yeah, they got a classism problem. That's their issue. Yeah, so somebody just made a point about something, and I had it, and I already lost it. I'm going to come back to it here in a second, though.
Was it about the fact that they don't follow their own rules?
They'll change the not only they're not follow the rules, they'll change the rules in the middle of the game while they're playing it, right? But the other point too is that it's not so much that black people are not willing to actually get the control and actually have that power. Is basically once you get it, I'm sorry, I know what it was. Here's the point: is that yes, you are supposed to be for your group. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing absolutely wrong with that. I agree with white folks actually doing stuff for themselves. Hispanics, they're an ethnic group. They can do stuff for themselves to the exclusion of everybody else. And Native Americans, black people, all of us can do stuff for the benefit of our group. The issue is when you encroach and you get what you get and you to the benefit of yourselves, but at the expense and disadvantage of somebody else. That's where you run into problems. One of the frustrations that I'm going to suspect this, right? I can't prove it, but I suspect one of the frustrations of some people, especially non-black people, is that black men, have still been able to actually, do pretty well for themselves in a country that's done everything they can to basically eke us out of existence, deny us, basic survival, resources, humanity, all this other stuff. I mean, honestly, if I were somebody else, I'd be like, what are we doing wrong? We can't look, we've been doing everything we can to keep these dudes at the bottom and they still rising. Like, how screwed up are we? Like, that's part of their frustration is like, you still have successful black men in spite of all of this. And they still haven't figured out how to break us. They still haven't figured out how to, we can't completely eradicate them right now because we still need them to some extent. We got to figure out a way to keep them here, exploit them, get them to accept the exploitation without trying to actually be all they can be. Like, how do we do that? They can't figure out how not to do it. They just can't figure out how to do that. It's a frustration on their part. They're like, we've done everything we can to keep them down, yet they still, are still here. Like, what's going on here? What are we doing wrong? We're getting our stuff, and we don't have to harm anybody else to get it. We just outwork everybody.
I would love to live in a society where, everything was quote unquote fair and no one would encroach on others. You know, that sounds like a nice utopia, but I don't know. I haven't lived in that society. I don't know. Maybe you guys have pictured it somewhere. I don't know. So do you get power without encroaching upon others?
Yeah, you can. If
You
there
just work
if
Is
with other
that
there's
people.
yeah, you guys
if, there,
please
if
explain to me.
if there is a fair set of rules and everybody
There's
follow the
no
rules,
that doesn't
that's
exist
what the
though,
issue
Rod.
is. No, I'm just
Where
saying
does that
that's the way it
exist?
happens. I'm just saying that's the reality of it. You got to have a fair set of rules, and
That
people got to
doesn't
follow the
exist,
rules.
Rod. Fair doesn't exist, bro.
I'm not arguing if fair exists.
Right, right,
I'm just
right,
saying how's it done. You got to have a
right.
fair set of rules, and people got to follow the
Right.
rules.
You're good, right? You're funny, Roger. I appreciate it though. Because you
Yes,
guys basically I presented some questions and you guys haven't presented anything different from what I've said.
All right, well, let me get this in, and we can definitely get to that. Shout out to SOS the Interpreter. He hit me with the $10 Cash App. Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And shout out to Floyd Thompson, who also came through with the $2.57. And shout out to the Trail Bentley tax on that as well. He said hashtag Treaty of Peace and Friendship tax. More rules that white folks say they're gonna follow that they just didn't follow at the end of the day. Because what treaty have they kept? Let's just keep it real, y'all. Have they kept any treaty? Now, Jado, I definitely get what you're saying. I don't think you have to try to destroy people to gain power. I don't believe that's necessary. Because every time black folks started gaining power, we didn't go through any process to start destroying people. Now, people will see us gaining power and then they'll try to come destroy us. So the fact that they have to kind of come destroy us so they can quote unquote maintain their power does show you don't need to be like them to get power. But I will say, unfortunately, that you will have to come to a determination or I think a reasonable conclusion that because they are who they are, in order to protect the power that you do gain, eventually you're gonna have to say off with their head sometime. And I think black folks gonna have to learn to be comfortable with that. It just is what it is. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to take you up out of here. But you made me do it. And my thing is I can't apologize for it. At the end of you put me in a position where I had to eliminate you or hurt you real bad. And I just gotta be okay with that.
Yeah, I want to answer Jado's question too, because so you have a good point here that does need to be addressed. So there are consequences to competition, but there's the issue of where we are in the process. So right now we have, so basically once you get to a certain,
Real quick, let me just say this real quick, because of timing. Shout out to Black Who Strikes. He said, and they own and run the country by violating all those treaties. And there you go. And which is an extremely on point response. But go ahead with your thought, brother. My bad.
all right, so you have consequences of competition. And then once you get the power, then you can actually start the system. The system that we're in, the game that we're playing is their game. If we end up getting to a point where we can get the power to change the game, then the game is something else. But basically where we are in the process is what we're dealing with that makes things kind of more aligned with operating under their system, if that makes sense. It's not like a real depiction of us as much as it is operating in the system that we're currently in.
And we've said before that, half jokingly, people say if I were to become president, I have to, carry a gun. My thing is like, of course I don't want to have to do something like that to people. But if I was president, I just would. I'd be busting back at you. You got to do stuff a little different sometimes. That is a legitimate thing. I don't think black people want to go out and hurt white people, though. I don't wake up with a desire to hurt any white person. But if a white person bothers me, am I quick to slap them? Sure, I would do it. I'd do it in a heartbeat. The only place I would say that I probably wouldn't hit you back right now is at the airport. Now, I am saying I'm trying to be the type of person that won't do violence. I'm trying to be that person who won't go violent on you. I don't think I'm there yet at all. Real talk. The airport, I probably let it go because it's just too much for me to deal with if I knock you at the
Roger,
airport.
Hey,
Airport
hey,
and Walmart. All right, players. Airport and Walmart.
I don't know.
Just be careful.
I think I'm gonna handle my business at
Well,
Walmart.
all warriors go to war for peace. That's the objective of this whole thing. Like you're actually being peaceful when you really think about it.
hmm. Hey, Roger, man. Let me apologize. I think I'm being a little too boisterous, man. Usually, I'm just kicking back, chilling, man. But I don't know, man. I take I take this kind of serious, man. I mean, I don't know. This is just the way I've looked at things, man. Like, if a group of people is just we're being good for goodness sake or whatever, are they going to ever aggregate some power? I mean, I guess if you let God, take control, and eventually one day, I don't know, thousands of years, or I don't know, hundreds of years, thousands of years, maybe being good for goodness sake will pay off, man. But it ain't paying off, and it ain't been paying off.
Well, it's just not paying
Can
off
I?
fast enough.
And
The
I'm not,
system's
and I'm not
actually
suggesting, that we should be going out being racist or whatever. I'm not suggesting that. I don't know. I don't have the answers, but I'm just saying, like, we playing, that's that word fair, man. I don't know, man. I just don't get it, bro.
so the
Can
system is actually crashing on itself already. I know you guys you're seeing the remnants of that already happen. It started crashing on itself the day that they formed it, but this type of system that's fair and inequitable. When you're doing stuff like that, and then you're changing the rules throughout, and then you lying and cheating and stealing, you can't do anything but actually fail, and that's been their frustration the entire time, right? So you said something else too, JD. You said, can you be happy with fair and equal competition? Yeah, we do it all the time in sports. When somebody crosses the first in the 100-meter dash, we don't, unless the other person tried to trip them up, and they violated some kind of law or something, or they got an early start. We don't complain about that. So people are fine with fair and equitable competition. It's just everybody has to be on board with it. But when you have one group or a specific person or organization that's just so hell-bent on being in charge, they're willing to lie, cheat, steal, and even kill in order to get it done, then the rules don't apply. That's them.
You know what? Let me jump in there and say
I
this,
don't
because
think.
sports does have a track record. There is a track record where I ain't gonna say no black person has ever tried to cheat in sports. There have been a few cases out there where some black person was caught at trying to cheat at a sports, taking some form of a PED or something like that. But when you hear about white people taking the PED, it don't even shock you. It's like, of course they do that. They do that right. You know what I'm saying? There's always some white person getting caught cheating. That's
But
just
there's
the way it
still,
goes.
but Roger,
Well,
there's
hold
still.
on one second. I'm gonna let you in a second. But the thing is, that's just who they are as a people. Let's not change the definition of something because of who they are as a people. They cheat. I'm not saying you can be fair and we can be a fair people to them and get fair results. I'm not making that argument at all. But let's not confuse the fact that them just being a people that just cheat all the time or cheat on a regular basis, however you want to say it, that ain't got nothing to do with us at the end of the day. That's just who they are as a people. And yes, we do have to accept that that's who they are as a people. Black Rule makes a good point right here. He says Ice Cube created a great idea with his 3-man ball league. Rather than partnering with him, the NBA is getting together with media, banking, and government assistance to steal it from him. That is white power. Okay, and let's keep it real, y'all. That we know that's what's going on. Ice Cube had a great idea. His ideal is working. It's a proven concept at this point. And this is what white people do on a regular basis. Once they find out you can sell without them, now they want to control how you sell. So now with Ice Cube, because of who he is, the thing is, we're not going to do nothing with Ice Cube because they know Ice Cube ain't finna work with them on some BS. They can't BS Ice Cube. They know that already. So what they going to do? Well, we're going to just try to replace Ice Cube. We'll just crush Ice Cube. We got more money to work with. We got billions of dollars. We good. He won't be able to stand up to us. So we just going to take his idea and just obliterate him. That's how they get down at the end of the day. Because if they only want to work with the niggas they feel they can control. And that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. They only want to work with you if they feel like you a nigga that can be controlled. Even on any regular job, if they feel like you a nigga that they can control, they'll give you a job and an opportunity. But if they think you can't be controlled, they're not giving you that job. And everybody knows that. I don't care how big the job is or how small the job is. I'm talking about anyone, anywhere from janitor to CEO. If they don't believe they can control you, they ain't trying to give you that job. It just is what it is. That's who they are as a people. But Pastor gets the mic because he just came up. Go ahead, my brother.
What up, Roger? How y'all doing, man? So, I don't know if black people are actually racist. I just know that they're willing to cooperate with racists. You say they'll give those people a job because they can control them, and I agree with that to a certain. And under the umbrella of control, you have cooperation, and I do think that a lot of black people find themselves cooperating with racism. You had a brother named Mark Robinson that was running for governor in North Carolina that referred to himself as a black Nazi because he wanted to collaborate with racism in order to get into that office as governor in North Carolina. So I do think that some black people will cooperate with racism for office, power, and even business.
Well, but being realistic, you cooperate with racism in general in order to have a living in America. Yeah, y'all think I turned down jobs because some racists want to hire me? You think I'm not gonna do some work because do y'all even believe I think any white person who's doing anything where I earn money from that most of these folks ain't racist? No, everything is at a certain level. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna not take white money just because it came from a racist. That's what you're supposed to do. Take their money. The thing is, you don't take their money so they can control you. You take their money because you don't need them to have it. Now, if you take their money so they can control you, you got it wrong. And you, at the end of the day, now you just becoming a traitor to your people. But taking their money shouldn't even be an issue. You know, black people don't really seem to get that. That's like spoils of war. You go out, you do your quote unquote war for the day, and you take their money so you can control it. You're supposed to take it. You just don't supposed to let them control you. But you are supposed to act like they can control you when it's time for you to get hired. You know, I'm gonna say that. Now that's the game I play. You know, every time I look for a job, I acted like I was gonna be 100% cooperative or whatever nonsense they said when I was sitting there getting interviewed. Because it's called playing the game. What do I want? I just want the job. Once I got the job, I know I can do a little bit more stuff. You can't just fire me immediately once I get past the probation. But yeah, I'd be the good little nigga to get the job. But once I got it, now I'm gonna operate a little bit different. Just is what it is. And if anybody's trying to work with them, you're not on our team, no way. And that's just the cost you got to bear. You know, I use a clip with Jeffrey Lee Peterson, right? Now, what did he say racism was? His whole thing was black people believe that white people are racist. Now, is that an actual definition of racism? No. They believe white people trying to hold them back. Are white people trying to hold black people back? Absolutely. Because ain't nobody trying to give up power. No, what group of people have ever just openly said, just come take power from us? No one does that. So nobody's ever trying to give up power at the end of the day. But does that make you racist because you recognize somebody else is? No. So he just saying stuff to appease white folks. That's all that is at the end of the day. You know, you recognizing racism does not mean you're a racist. It means you know how to see what racism is. And I see white people being racist on a regular basis. That don't make me racist because I don't slap them because they white. I wouldn't do that. Now, if you did something to me and then I slapped you and you happen to be white, you're not slapped simply because you're white. It's because you did something and you're white, and possibly that I slapped you. Because, maybe I would have let a black person slide on the same thing. But I ain't going to let you slide because you ain't one of us. That's not me being racist. That's me saying, I'm just not letting this thing slide. But since you white, I'm going to throw this little extra into it too. That ain't me being racist. That's just me being preferential.
Or prejudice, at least prejudice.
No, not prejudice, because I didn't slap them because they right. I slapped them because they did something to me, and I'm not gonna let them slide. See, just because I let a black person slide who did the exact same thing, I may just say something to them, may not actually slap them. I'm being preferential with my treatment, but I didn't do anything based off the fact that they were white. I reacted to whatever they did. So I just, with the black person, I'm just preferential with my reaction, which is not racism.
It's no prejudice and racism is different, but you definitely lower the bar in order to commit that act for that other person.
No. I'm saying they did something. They did something to me. I'm reacting to what they did. If a person is black and I just say something to them, that's my response to them. Now, if the person is white and say I say something to them and slap them, that's preferential treatment. I didn't slap the black person. That has nothing to do with prejudice, because I wouldn't have said anything had you not got out of pocket with me in the first place. See, the only reason I'm addressing something because somebody got out of pocket with me. Now, because you was not black and you got out of pocket with me, say I throw the slap in. That's just me being preferential toward my own people. I'm going to say something to both parties. But when you're not black, I must more than say something to you. That means I'm treating my group preferential, which is understandable because that's my group. Why wouldn't I give my group a preferential treatment? Preferential treatment is not racism. Racism is cheating and stealing from other folk. Go ahead.
Yeah, just say real quick about the word prejudice. You guys got to be careful with that. I think Uru came up and actually talked about this. He said, black people are allowing, non-black people, specifically white people, to change definitions of words midstream, and then we're agreeing to it. Look, prejudice is actually you having a belief or a basis or an ideology without evidence. Black people. So, and the reason I say that is because people will say, well, black people can't be racist, but they can be prejudiced. And when you hear black people say this a lot, you'll even hear white people agree to it. What they're trying to do, they're trying to get you to get closer and closer to the definition of racism and their agreement, so that way they can actually, well, see, you guys can be racist. No, the thing is that prejudice, we have hundreds of years of evidence to be prejudiced. So we have legitimate reason to actually be prejudiced against, people who have harmed and continue to harm black people, for centuries. Like the racism has never stopped. So the white people have given us all of this evidence, past evidence, present day evidence, near present, current evidence, all of this stuff. So just understand what those words mean, so that, because what they're trying to do, they're trying to get you to throw that in there, so that way they can kind of give you that, wiggle that. Well, see, you guys actually, that's part of racism. No, I have hundreds of years of evidence of you actually being harmful to black people. So that's not me being prejudiced. That's me knowing what the history is.
Well, my thing is, you don't let them blend stuff together. And that's what the point I was trying to make to the pastor right there. Me slapping you because you got a pocket with me, because you happen to be white, it has nothing to do with prejudice. It's not nothing to do with me prejudging you. If you didn't get out of pocket with me, I'm not saying anything to you in the first place. So if the black guy get out of pocket with me and I say something to him, but I don't slap him, that has nothing to do with prejudice. That means I'm choosing to react to the black person in the way where I'm only saying something. Now, when the white person do the exact same thing, I'm reacting to the white person, but I'm including the slap because I prefer my own. That is not prejudice, because I wouldn't have said anything to either one of them had they not got out of pocket with me in the first place. The thing is, don't let people mix you up with words to make you something you're not. I am not being prejudiced. I'm simply being preferential. And shout out to Black Rule Strikes, who says preference of your own group is survival, which it is. And the thing is, I can be preferential to my own without being prejudiced or racist toward anybody else. Of course, I'm gonna like my people first. If I got to save lives of everybody on this panel, if there's a situation that come up and I got to save lives, and they say, well, you only gonna get to save 4 lives, but one of my brothers is here. Y'all think I ain't saving my brother first? That's called preferential. There ain't nothing you can tell me where he ain't one of the people getting saved. Now the next 2, now I got to start making decisions about y'all. I ain't making no decision about the first one. My brother's automatically first.
Well, I mean, well,
that's
see, that's I think, but but you got to make
that ain't prejudice at all.
You got to make that decision.
No. But the thing is, that's no real decision. That's not prejudice. That's simply, I prefer to save my own blood.
So in a survival situation, right, where people's lives are at risk and you're not triaging and looking
If
for
I,
the most
you know what,
survivable person
hold
and
fast,
you and
hold fast.
prejudging to take
No,
your
hold on, Pass. Okay, so let's say I'm hiring somebody. Y'all all coming for the same job, or my brother coming for the job too. I'm hiring him first. It's just that simple. I don't even care about the qualifications. I'm hiring him because he's my brother.
So are you getting the
If
best?
he
Are you
can't
getting
do
the
it,
best
if he
applicant by
cannot.
doing that? By being prejudiced that way, are you getting the best applicant?
No. The thing is, I'm saying y'all, we all black folks. That's just me being preferential.
That's yes, you being prejudiced, and you might not get the best applicant. But I'm gonna leave it
No,
alone. I'm gonna
that's
leave it
not me being.
alone. I'm gonna leave it alone. Tomato,
No.
tomato, tomato,
Roger, I
tomato.
promise you hire your
Here,
brother.
I can help.
I
Prejudice
promise you hire
is
your brother as long as I'm one of the three. I'm fine. You can hire your brother, Roger. Just make me one of the three.
H is friend. What you say, H? You
Because
you
we
gonna
all
play
black.
along?
We all black.
So we have to make up for a gap when
Yeah.
we're dealing
what.
with this economic slap.
So
We have to kind of look at
Let
it
me throw
that
this
way.
in real quick. Let me throw this in real quick because I got to button this up. Prejudice means prejudgment, which means I'm not gonna hire you because of this particular thing. That's what a prejudice is. So if half the folks was in here and they was white, and I say I'm not gonna hire any of them because they're white, that's being prejudiced. Okay, that's being. I don't want to even let them come do the interview. That's being prejudiced. You see what I'm saying? I'm prejudging them. I'm saying they're not qualified because they're white. That's prejudice. Now, the act of me not hiring on that is being racist because now I'm using power against them. But my brother is just my preference to hire. So my brother can be there. It can be five other white people with y'all. I got 3 people to hire. My brother's getting hired. Him not being qualified I'm not gonna let that stand. We're gonna get him trained up right so he can do the job. I'm not dumb enough to hire a brother and just let him not be qualified for the job. I'm not dumb enough to do that. But if I can hire the guy, I'm gonna hire the guy because he's my brother. That has nothing to do with prejudice against somebody. Now the rest of y'all now I gotta look at who's qualified the most. And I really got to get the most qualified person. Why? Because somebody got to help my brother be qualified.
That's the definition of DEI hiring, man. That is horrible.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No,
That's
it's
not.
not.
Hold on. See, I don't like. Listen, if you gonna make comments like that when in reference to our people, make sure you understand what the things are. This DEI, all of that stuff has nothing to do with us. I don't know why black people keep using it as something against black people. That's ridiculous. And if you're not aware of what it's for and what it was used for, don't speak on it.
I'm very well aware of what it was used and what it was
You're
for.
not. Because if
Yes,
you
I
were
am.
aware,
Yes,
just
I
like
am.
the other thing they implemented didn't help us either. But for some strange reason, black people like to use it as a talking point.
You define it as you define it now. That is what you're explaining. I'm not saying you're making an argument of whether it helped us in the overall
That's not
socioeconomic
his
status.
description is
I'm
nowhere
not
near.
even arguing that.
Hold
What I'm
on.
saying is, as you're
What
explaining
Roger?
it, that's what it sounds
No,
like.
it's not DEI. It's nowhere. It's nowhere near DEI. It has nothing to do with DEI.
You just attached it to an example, so we all know exactly what you're talking about. And what I said ain't got nothing to do with DEI. It's actually called love. I love my brother, so I'm gonna put my brother in a position that can help him if I can get away with it. It's that
closest thing you can say is the closest thing you can say is nepotism, not DEI. That's ridiculous.
I think I could add a little bit more clarity here. Like, if you're showing up to the job, you meet the minimum qualifications for even being there and being interviewed in the first place. And on top of that, we do have a societal context that we actually have to look at when we're actually talking about what we're dealing with. Like, we're dealing with an actual legitimate gap, and if the person is there and they meet the qualifications for the job, and you have a societal gap that was constructed on purpose, like this we didn't get here by magic, then the only way to deal with it is to unconstruct it.
Yeah.
But
Shout out to Black
Rodney, you
Who's
said we
Strike
was going
real
to
quick.
hire this brother and
Well, hold on real quick.
then get the
Let me read this
certification.
first, Pastor. Let me read this first. Shout out to Black Who Strikes. He said, "You hire your family so they can pay bills you won't have to pay. It keeps money in the family's coffers, which makes all the sense in the world. And I did say if I can get away with it in the context of I can't hire my brother to be something that it'll take him far too long to be qualified for. Like I can't put him in position to be a rocket scientist. That's gonna come out immediately that he's unprepared to do that. But there are certain positions that you can just give people training on, and they can grab hold to it pretty quickly, and the boat ain't gonna flip over. Okay, now white folks, what they'll do is they'll hire somebody and put them in a top position like that, and they totally unqualified. And it comes out that they don't know what they're doing. Everybody figures it out real quick that this person has no clue of what we're talking about. They don't understand the language of the industry that we in. And the thing is, that's being prejudiced. That's being racist.
Exactly. I agree with you.
Hold on. I hired him because he's white and he ain't even nowhere near being able to be capable to do this job. I ain't gonna say your brother, because your brother, that is nepotism. But if you hire a unqualified white man in some position that it'll take him a year to be qualified to actually do, that's racism when you got qualified black folks that can do the job.
Now you adding a year to. I get what you're saying, Roger. But if white people did it, would be prejudice as well. We can't add a year and all that time into
you can
it.
hire your own brother, but you can't if you do it in a way that it comes out to everybody that he's totally unprepared, and it's going to take you a year or two to get him even trained where he can actually do the job. That's racist. That's way too far. Hiring somebody and say, I'm gonna put them through 90 days of training, that's no big deal.
Okay, Roger, I can agree with that.
When you put somebody in a position where other employees got to answer to them, and I come to you saying something about what's going on, and you don't even understand the language of this industry, you're totally unprepared. You're only there because of something racist.
Okay, so if we go ahead and say that the brother is qualified for the job and all he got to do is take a learning curve of the job, of course, hire your own and then look for the others to help. But that was not the original argument that we was having, but y'all, we got it. We're going to move on past it.
I think it was the original argument. I'm just trying to clarify, but it's cool, brother. The thing was, you said hiring my brother's DEI, and that's what Truth kind of came at you with. And I'm just saying,
it is DEI because I was coming from the perspective that you were just hiring this brother because he was a brother, he wasn't qualified. See, Truth added the qualifications, and you wouldn't hire no brother for a job if he wasn't qualified. Now we want to put that perspective in there. Okay, that changed the game.
That's
but
not
just
what I was
hiring
saying.
a brother just to be hiring a brother is not the best way to go, Roger.
He said his brother. For one,
his
and
brother
two,
still don't matter if you're not qualified for the position.
But that's not DEI. That's not DEI.
It's the same thing that white people been doing. You call it nepotism. DEI didn't earn it. You can call it whatever you want to call it. They hired somebody that was not ready. It was like an affirmative action. Affirmative action just ain't based off race.
DEI
you can do a family. Yes, it is. You can do all that stuff. Yes, it is.
This is why.
So
This is why y'all niggas need to read. My man was on here earlier. Y'all niggas need to read. That's not what DEI.
I've read enough. I've read enough.
No, you haven't. Here, listen. Listen.
I'm not here to listen. I'm here to say something.
I hear you not listening because that's why you sound the way you sound.
It is DEI.
You're not making sense. No, it's not.
I don't look. Sense is something that you can play with. I'm just trying to say what I'm trying to say. DEI is hiring somebody that's not qualified for that job.
No, it's not.
Based off qualifications of their intersectionality. You can play all these simple games you want to, but it's hiring people based off a form of intersectionality for a job that they're not technically qualified for to meet a quota. To meet a quota.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. No, it's not. You should go look it up.
Quotas are illegal.
Yeah, that's not what DEI is. It's really not, honestly.
Yeah, yes, it is, Roger. Yeah, we can play the semantics game all day.
I mean, see, this is what the problem is. And then you listen to these the white supremacist talking points, and you out here blurting it out, sounding crazy. First of all, DEI wasn't built for us. They were trying to get them folk in there. And when I say them folk, I don't mean that them folk who are just Caucasian. They were trying to get another grouping of people in there. That's who it was built for. Women and them folk. And it was successful. They got a few black people in, but as soon as they did that, them folks on that side of the fence was like, hey, who are these niggas? And then suddenly now it's only for black people when it was when it was there helping them folk and them other folk on that side of the fence. And it has nothing to do with qualifications. It doesn't require you to hire somebody who's not qualified. Because they don't hire a nigga out of high school to do something that a nigga that runs an HR department does. That's not what they do it for. It's to help them filter what they want out of candidates who qualify, but they want a certain condition that they want to be able to get without anybody making any hiccups. And that's what DEI was. And it worked masterfully. Just like the last version of it. When a certain somebody went to court, let's just skip that part. But it's the exact same thing. It's the same thing with a different name, and niggas is saying like it's new. And every time they do this shit, it helps out white people every single time. And suddenly now it's black people's fault. And they're unqualified. And they're only unqualified because everybody thinks it helps black people. This unqualified stuff only comes when black people get named in the accusation.
Yeah, as soon as white people find out DEI help white people more than help black people, they have no issue with qualifications anymore.
Absolutely
ain't amazing how that happens. Ain't that just amazing how that happens when you explain it has nothing? Well, y'all get more help than us. Oh, it ain't got nothing to do with qualification. All that stuff I was saying 3 seconds ago, I didn't mean none of it. That's how the game is played. And I'm gonna say shout out to y'all Borgen. He said nepotism is a term used to discourage you from doing the same behavior. And I do agree with that. See, I done talk to folks who own companies. I don't work for folks who own companies, and I talk to people at the head. You know what I'm saying? I told y'all a story about one time I was working for a security company, got into an issue. I go to the office, I see nothing but relatives in the office. You see what I'm saying? The vice president was the brother-in-law of the the vice president was the brother-in-law of the guy who started the company. The secretary was his it was a daughter or the niece. I can't remember which one right now at the moment. It was a daughter or a niece. The person who was and this when they was making their own checks back in the day, y'all. You know, office they got it. They making their own checks and all that. The person in charge of payroll, I believe, was his wife. Whole family in there doing all kinds of stuff. I don't buy into none of that nonsense, because if you do it, there's no reason for you to tell me why I shouldn't do it. Because if it's working for you, what's the issue about the same thing working for me? And I understand they tell us stuff such as nepotism to discourage us from doing the exact same thing they doing. Because they tell us all the time, don't hire your family because it's too messy. Okay, well, stop hiring yours then. I don't see that. How come they ain't got no mess? They the ones hiring family. And shout out to Black Rule Strikes. He said, if you wholly own the business, you should be able to hire whoever you want. It's when it's publicly traded, government owned and sponsored, where hiring discrimination is an issue. And I agree with that, because I guarantee you, I hire who I want. Let me get a Fortune 500 company, see who worked there when I'm running. Okay, y'all see clearly
you would also meet that quota of white people too, and Asian people, and whatever you need to do to keep your business going. I agree that you would hire a lot of black people. I do agree. I think you definitely would. I think the business would probably be 90% black, but I think you would definitely meet your quota of them as well.
Bro, I would find some half black people and put them down as white.
You know what? You can play that game.
I'm right here, Roger.
You can play that game. You can play that game. Especially if their daddy is white. If your father is white, you know what? We playing that game. You white.
I don't know about that game. I don't know about your daddy being white. I don't know. No, I'm just messing around. But real talk, you got to look at who the leader of a family is too. So you know, your daddy being white, I might check daddy out. You know what I'm saying? Is he cool or is he one of them? You know what I'm saying? I got to check daddy out if your daddy white. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to fall to the leadership of your own family. So it is what it is. But the point is, DEI is not the same thing as what we were talking about. And there is, you can't find anybody out here really getting together to stop white people from doing anything. So if we're going to talk about our black people racist. Now, the brother who came up earlier, I forget his name right now, but he did say something about black people being racist to black people. Now that is something I was gonna bring up myself, and that's something I can agree with. If there's any racism you can find amongst black people, it's gonna be racism against themselves because they've been born in a white supremacist country and they were taught to be a white supremacist. And you have some of them who've yet to let it go, especially the women, because the women will hold on to it for life. And a lot of men will hold on to it for a good long period of time until they realize how everything is really squared up against them. And then they start to let it go for the most part. But being racist toward anybody who ain't black is basically nonsense. There's literally no evidence of it.
Roger, prejudging and being racist or thinking twice against a brother, it does actually, we talk about history, it does go into that person's history too. So when black people, we say when certain black people are prejudging or racist against another black group of black people, it's because they looked at their behavior over a group of time. I don't really, when I
I
look
don't
at
believe that.
racism,
I believe prejudgment comes from school. You was taught in school to be a white supremacist. You turned on your TV when you came home after school and you was taught to be a white supremacist. You went and watched some movie, you was taught to be a white supremacist. You read some novel and you was taught to be a white supremacist. I believe that's where it comes from, brother. I don't believe it at all. It comes from you looking at black people and seeing them, and then all of a sudden I don't like these people. Them people act like you. And
well,
one
I do
thing,
know, I do think
let me
there's a
say this.
difference.
Let me just say this. From a psychological standpoint, what's familiar to you is usually read as a good thing. So you see people who act like you, but you're gonna be prejudiced against those people. That's BS from a psychological standpoint.
And that's that's the difference that we just said. There's a certain group of black people that look at the behaviors of another group of black people. Their behaviors are not the same, Roger. You said that so now
No,
I do agree that black people, they had the
I
same.
said that's not where prejudice come from. Because when you're growing up, you ain't looking at a different group of black people. You look at the black people around you. You are a child growing up. You are exposed to who your parents allow you to be exposed to. You looking at people just like you.
And then when you see the behaviors of people that supposedly look just like you, that end up being different from what your family practices, you start to prejudge and have a racist ideology towards
Most
them.
black
I
people are
don't
going
think
to
this comes from
black
nowhere.
people will see people who act like them far more than they're going to see black people who act differently than them.
I don't know if that's
I'm
completely
sorry.
true.
I don't know if I understand what you're trying to say, Pastor. Are you saying because you see the actions of a different group of people, and their actions are malicious against you, and that you take that into account? And if you think that whole group is like that, then that means you're racist? Is that what we're
So,
saying?
prime example, me being from a rural area in North Carolina, I would always look at an inner city black person that wasn't raised like me, that moved a little bit differently than I did, as like what you up to, and I have to figure them out and see if they was cool, because I wasn't. And I think when people are raised differently, despite their race, they look
No,
at things completely
no,
differently, and that does bring a
but
prejudice into
but
play.
Pastor, you're talking about something you basically did as an adult. When you were a child, you're only exposed to what your parents allow you to be exposed to. You're gonna basically be in a homogeneous type of area. If you live in the inner city, you live with inner city kids. If you live in the country, you live with country kids. You when you grow up, you're pretty much exposed to people like you. It's not very many people that have a very different background that live in your neighborhood. Now, I ain't saying it's impossible. I could be in a poor neighborhood. You can find any poor neighborhood right now, and you can see a bunch of poor kids with somewhat poor parents or whatever the case is. And maybe there's one guy who's a doctor who lived in that neighborhood because for whatever reason, he didn't want to move out, the quote unquote, the hood. He going to be the only one there, though. You basically live around your own kind of people.
You basically live in your own social economic class of people.
And that group of people is very much similar. So when you're a child growing up, you're not really exposed to other people who look like you that are very different than you. So as I said, prejudice comes from school. It comes from television. It comes from novels. It comes from these movies. It come from news programs. It ain't you as a child seeing a bunch of different people who look like you but act totally different. You ain't gonna get prejudice out of that. Because what's familiar to you usually feels good from a psychological standpoint. That's why it's so hard for people to change certain things. Things that are familiar to you feel good. And that ain't got nothing to do whether it's a positive or negative thing. It's just familiar to you, so you're more accepting of it. So yes, prejudice come when you become an adult. For the most part, that's going to be an adult thought process. Now you gonna have to say as an adult, I don't like them niggas over there. That's what you got to do. You got to make that decision as an adult. So my thing is, prejudice don't come out no childhood.
I think it
And
does.
and I don't think there's anything wrong with healthy suspicion. So if you go, you grew up in the country, you moved to the middle of New York City, you're not from there, you don't know the people there. Y'all, you may live around a bunch of black people, but them ain't your people, right? So you should have a healthy suspicion. That's called nature. That's not prejudice. You just don't know. Now, if you have a thought saying all the niggas from this city are thieves and murderers, that's prejudice. that's prejudice. But if you have a suspicion and you careful about who you interact with until you learn them, that's just healthy suspicion. That's called protection.
Yeah. And see, I done been in the bad neighborhoods. I done told y'all that before. You know what I'm saying? I hung out in the worst neighborhood in Chicago at the time. I ain't even have an issue with black people because I pay attention to what's going on with me. I told you I've been robbed 4 times, and half of that was from the cops. The white people who literally have a job to protect me from being robbed. They robbed me. Okay? So I don't see this whole thing as, I'm seeing these black people act this way over here because they ain't got no home training, so now I'm finna develop some form of prejudice against them. I can walk through a group of niggas. I prefer not to walk through a group of cops because I think I'm safer with them niggas. Yeah, the people y'all think and you a nick. Yeah, I think I'm safer with the niggas than I am with the cops because I just pay attention to reality. And the niggas ain't paid to protect me. The niggas got me twice. The white people paid to protect me got me twice.
So it's
why would I be
50-50.
prejudiced against black folks?
It's 50-50, Rod. You need to stay away from all them niggas. The cops and them niggas.
So why would I make a prejudgment about black people when the cops paid to protect me is the ones robbing me?
Roger, you admitted it was 50-50. The cops
The
robbed you
black
half the
people,
time. The
the
black
black
people robbed
folks
you
ain't
half the
paid to
time.
protect me. The black folks wasn't paid to protect me. The people paid to protect me robbed me.
So they double dip. Oh well, it happened, man. I'm sorry for you, but what I'm
So
saying
why would
is,
this is what I'm saying. So how could I develop a prejudice against black folks if I can just simply pay attention to the world I live in?
they still robbed you, Roger. Your best bet is to just get away from not deal with the cops and get away from niggas that'll rob you. That's your best bet, and that's just how I play it. I mean, it is what it is. I mean,
but how do I develop prejudice against my own group when they ain't acting no worse than the people paid to protect me?
just like you prejudice against those cops, like I'm a prejudge and stay away from those cops. You're gonna prejudge and be prejudiced against them niggas too.
You missed his point. You're paying them not to be prejudiced against.
Okay, but even if you paying them, you
Wait,
paying them
listen,
not to be, but they
just
still are. I'm not
hear me out.
skipping past it. I'm getting to the bottom line. There's still prejudice.
All right, but you're missing the point of what
I'm
he's
not
saying.
missing the point. The point
Oh,
is
Jesus.
null and
I'm
void.
trying, Roger, but it's like I'm hitting walls.
We can hit a wall, bro.
I don't understand. Yeah, y'all niggas just
Still
won't
left
stop.
there. Still left. Don't hit the wall. Don't
Okay,
hit the wall.
I think I can
Left.
help. I think I can
Still
help. So
left,
you
dog.
have
Don't hit the
groups,
Please
wall.
and then you have subgroups. You have groups and then you have subgroups. So you're going to stay away from the type of people in the community that will rob you. You're going to stay away from the people that are the non-melanated people that will rob you too. Like, you don't have to project that on the entire group is what I'm kind of saying here. You pay attention to both groups and subgroups.
Yeah, because I could have developed a prejudice if I wanted to. I just didn't because I pay attention to the world around me. And truth be told, the cops got me for more than what the niggas did. The
Well,
niggas
see,
got a pair of shoes and $100.
damn,
Cops
it's
got
even
way more than that.
it's even worse than that, Roger. You actually were paying the cops not to do it, so it makes them worse. If you're going to have a bias against either of the two groups, it'd be the group that you're paying not to do what they did, and they still did it, versus the group you're not paying and has no obligation to not do it to you, doing it to you.
Yeah.
That's the point.
At least I can say when the niggas did it, I could at least understand them niggas broke. When the cops did it, you literally got a nice paying job with benefits. Probably had a pensions, because y'all know yeah, they eventually switched over to 401k. When they got me, they probably still getting pensions. And you stealing from a youngster. And I'm a black guy. You black young guy. I wasn't that old when I got robbed. Okay, it wasn't that old. So you grown men with pensions and everything stealing from some young black kid just getting a good leg up in life. You see what I'm saying? I don't even think I was 21 by the time both times I done got. No, matter of fact, I know for sure I was not no 21. At least the niggas that got me, at least I know them niggas broke. You know what I'm saying? They thought they was trying to make a come up. That's what that was. So they at least had, I'm not saying being broke is a good reason to rob somebody, but I could at least understand where they coming from. Versus the people who took more from me who literally got jobs and got pensions. And they get a lot of free stuff because they're cops. If y'all don't know, cops get a lot of free stuff out here in the world.
And their job description means it shouldn't be robbing you. we have to remember the nigga on the street don't got no job description not to rob you, other than the law saying he shouldn't do it or he's gonna get locked up. These niggas got the law and their job description that say they shouldn't be robbing you, and they still rob you. I think them niggas are gonna be the worst out of the two groups. That's the worst group. I'm sorry. It's just is what it is. That
So
was
your
what the
brother, your
point
brother
was.
that your brother that looks like you has less responsibility to you than a man that has a job.
Correct.
The man that has
Because
the
you
job to
the
stop
job
the random person from robbing me,
for robbing
yes,
you.
absolutely.
So y'all make the
And
argument.
wait, hold on. Your money pays his job to do that to not do what he's doing. Your money, not anybody else's. Your money. That's what makes it worse.
Yeah, because they shall take taxes out.
I say this. I say that the fact that there's not basic civility amongst your brethren is worse than that man not doing his job or abusing his
No.
job.
I can't say there ain't basic civility because most black people have never tried to rob me. See, we play these games like this stuff, but the average black person ain't did nothing to me. Most black
Honestly,
people gonna say
yeah.
hi to me at most. Well, at least the brothers do. You know what I'm saying? They'll give me the head
But
nod or something. They ain't did nothing to me.
But basic civility falls on everybody, including the police. So the police have basic civility, right? They have their job, they have the law, and they have their promises and their respect that they walk around with when they wear that badge. The dude on the street got basic civility. What else does he owe you? The police seems to owe you a lot. That's what our problem is. We think the niggas on the street is the same as
Wow,
police officers. And
that's
they're
crazy,
not
right?
even in the same game.
See, I
They're
grew up.
not
I
in
grew
the
up. See,
same game.
that's why I love living in the South, where people treat each other with basic decency. So we don't need to call the police on each other every day like that. I go outside. I don't have no
But
problem with nobody.
that's the same. That's
This
the
is
same thing.
crazy.
No, brother. The thing is, now you're trying to paint a false narrative. I done been robbed 4 days in my entire life. 4 days. Now you compare that to my whole life. That's nothing. That's not even 1%. That's not even a percent of a percent. So no, we can't say, oh, it's so bad. No, that every day ain't nobody trying to do that to me. So we're not gonna play like it's happening every day. It was 4 different days. That's it. That's nothing. And the people who are paid to protect me got more from me than them niggas. Because the niggas only got $100 one time. Another time they got a pair of shoes. They ain't get nothing else. Now, the whole thing is, did you see me go get a group so I can execute the cops that robbed me? Did I play Prejudice, you know what I'm saying, on the cops that robbed me? No, I ain't did none of that. You know what I'm saying? Even though they quote unquote did something bad to me. I ain't out here trying to kill every cop. I understand why cops is there. If they actually do their job, cops ain't even a problem. The only problem we got is when cops start being racist. If you're going to be racist, you at least supposed to keep that out the uniform. We got cops so bold they racist in uniform. And then we got black people shucking and jiving and making excuses for people who wear a uniform that say you're supposed to protect us, because that's what it is. It's shucking and jiving, man. It's doing that old two-step they talk about black folks used to do back in the day when they trying to get white people to like them. They in the uniform, man. Ain't no excuse in that uniform. Now, if you doing something to somebody out the uniform, that's a whole different story. That's your personal business. That's you being sly off the record. But when you got that uniform on, it's no excuse for you to act like that. See, white people are racist in uniform. You don't see that happening with black folks. What uniform black people got together and robbed anybody?
When those brothers was in Memphis, Tennessee, Tyrone Nicholas, brother Nicholas, when those brothers
They ain't
robbed him
rob
of
him.
his life.
They ain't rob him.
Yeah, they robbed him of his life.
Yeah, I mean, they did what unfortunately some black people gonna do in those uniforms. They succumb to them white folks. Because a lot of black cops are under pressure. If you don't get those niggas, we getting you. They didn't do nothing to a white person. The guy they got was black.
So,
It wasn't racially
so Roger,
motivated.
I'm
It was
prejudiced
over some
against
problem.
black cops,
No,
black
hold on. Hold
hood
on.
niggas.
That was motivated over some broad, not a color. And the guy that was a victim was of the same color. It's not, so you can't even say they was being racist towards somebody. And I would say if you're gonna make an argument that black people are racist, it only seem to be against themselves.
Okay, well, I stay away from them niggas. I stay away from black cops that try to do crazy shit. I stay away from white cops that try to do crazy shit. Stay away from hood
Which
niggas that
means
try to do crazy shit. I try to stay in a good, complacent, chill environment.
the show is not about who you personally try to stay away from. The show is about are black people racist? And if the black people are racist, is there an example of them executing something racist?
We done seen the shit. We've seen multiple examples of it.
No,
So I'm like, it's not
I
about
don't know
me.
any example.
I'm saying that the average black person needs to probably try to stay away from all of that. That's what I'm saying. Forget me. The average black person needs to stay away from all of that.
Bro, you gave zero example of a black person being racist. Now you did just bring up the Tyree Nichols situation, but that was motivated over a chick, and they went after a black guy. That was not racially motivated whatsoever.
If it was a white guy, they wouldn't went after him.
No, it wasn't a white guy.
So they didn't go after him. It was another nigga.
The whole point of the show is are black people racist? It wasn't a white guy. It does not qualify as something racist.
It does.
No, it don't. They went after another guy the same color as them over a woman
because of his race. Because if it was a white guy,
it was over a.
Even if it was over a woman, even if it was over a woman, and was a white guy knocking down his woman, he wouldn't have went after him.
How do you know that?
Because it didn't happen.
It doesn't make a difference. It is not an example of black people executing racism. You said you gonna tell me, bro, the whole show is about are black folks racist. There hadn't been one example presented of any black people committing one racist act.
Black people are racist, Roger. That is what it is.
Okay, so give me an act that they committed so I can stand with you.
I just gave you one.
What's the racial thing they did? You gave me Tyree Nichols.
Right. I'll give you another one. The guy in Dallas, Malik. They came down here and took out like 5 officers during the I think it was like 2016, 17. He did that.
You talking about Micah X?
Who?
Are you talking about Micah X? He shot the 11 police officers, killed 5
in Dallas. Yeah,
that wasn't racist.
That was completely racist.
No, what?
He was. Oh,
He
here we go.
literally.
Never mind. I'm gonna leave it alone. Y'all got
Hey,
it. Y'all got it. Y'all
hey,
No, no,
got it. Y'all
no.
got it.
hey,
Yeah, see,
Roger, can I?
see.
If
Sorry, go
I
ahead,
if
Jay.
I if I no, if I'm following the logic correctly, y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Black folks can be racist, but only against themselves. Is that the logic? Is
No,
that the
that's
logical
not
follow?
that's
Oh, I
not an
heard.
actual lie. That was a gentleman said that early in the show, and then I did say something about it. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, you can't be racist against your own color and it still be considered racism. That's the
Oh,
issue with
okay.
that.
Oh, all right. All
You know what?
right, man. I'm gonna let it go,
Roger, you
man.
know what? I'll argue against that. If you're targeting somebody because of their race, even if it's the same race as you, yeah, you could be considered racist. Like black women. So I mean, you could be, yeah.
No, niggas are racist too.
I mean, they could be. Like Jesse, what's his name that was on the video? He is.
I mean, I'm just trying to follow the logic. Maybe, yeah, maybe I took a left turn, man, but I should have went
No,
right.
no,
You
I
did.
agree with you. I agree with you. I when you said it, I was like,
I don't
I didn't
have.
have to think about it.
I don't have
Yeah.
the, and I'm not saying I have the answers,
The
fellas. I'm
highest
just,
twins.
I'm
The
trying.
highest
No,
twins.
no.
See, I try not to call names.
I'm gonna say that that's something that we could actually consider. Okay, because you know what I'm saying. Because an act is an act, and my thing is because I got to wrap the show up, y'all. We 10 minutes past the 3 hour mark, and it's Friday, and I did say earlier I got some issues to do. The thing is, if you can't articulate something that black folks did due to racism, which had not been presented, the one example he pulled up was Tyree Nichols, and that was because of a chick. I covered it, so we already know what that was about. It was because of a chick.
I pulled up
Now,
the other one too.
Micah X was not somebody being racist. Micah X said, "I'm gonna go get these white folks because they won't leave my people alone." That was a man reacting to his people getting bothered,
Okay, so
executed, in jail, and all type of stuff that should not have been happening to. You
so
cannot
because it's
say
retaliation, it
you
don't make
can
you
hold on.
racist.
You can hold
This
on.
is crazy.
You cannot say somebody reacting to you harming them is being racist towards you.
Reaction
That don't
is
work.
racist. You can't have a racist reaction.
No,
I want to.
no,
Can I
it
say
ain't.
something more?
A reaction is preservation.
So I want to say this really quickly. I do think.
Okay, my bad, because I should have been got you. I'm very sorry for that, brother. My bad. That was totally a mistake. Go ahead. I got too caught up in the conversation.
I will say that black people are racist. Absolutely, I think black people are racist amongst themselves. Internal racism, right? That is a word. Internal racism. A great example of internal racism are drug dealers. Drug dealers are some of the biggest racists there are. Then you can be then also you can be racist as far as satire and how you portray people in media, right? So when we look at black media, how we portray other races of people, how we make fun of them in black media, right? I mean, everybody has some level of racism. Every group.
All right.
I
All
agree
right.
with that.
No, I'm saying okay. So the best we can get is black folks are internally racist.
No,
No, black people are externally racist too. We are externally racist too.
Even amongst black media, right? When we're depicting other races in there, is where we're making fun of them. We're projecting stereotypes. I mean, it's okay to be racist. It's normal. I don't think we're not racist enough, right? It's normal to be racist.
I don't think cracking a joke about somebody else is racist. I mean, there's all type of jokes about three people walk into a bar, one black, one white, then one might be Chinese.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
This is my point. Like in black media, black films, black production, like amongst ourselves when we're watching it, right? We make fun of other races, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? That's just one type of racism. Now, I'm not saying that we're on KKK level, right? You don't need to be on KKK level to be racist. It can be microaggressions. It can be stuff,
Yeah.
but there's nothing wrong with being racist, right? We need to do more of it. We should encourage it.
Like Malibu's Most Wanted was a racial depiction of of a wigger. Like that was our racial depiction of a wigger. We can do we do this stuff, Roger. We are racist.
A joke is not racism. Putting somebody out of a job because they happen to be black is racism.
But I disagree, because when we look at Hollywood and they depict us as drug dealers and all like typecasting, that's a type of racism, because most people around the world don't have interactions with Black Americans. We're only 13% of the population. So most people in America don't have interaction with Black people. So when they see people as Black people on TV as a basketball player, a thug, a corrupt cop, or a shooter, when you meet them, you have to overcome those barriers.
Okay. Shout out to Black Who Strike. He says that's bigotry, not racism. Racism includes the destruction of the quality of life of others based on race.
Okay, so
now I'm gonna say you bring up a good point that really should get more discussion. So let me probably try to pick this up in a different show, because my apology for not getting you in as quickly as I should have. But I do got ish to do, y'all. I do got ish to do. So, y'all, it's been great. If you ask me, if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Everybody like the video. We do this Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Chicago time, not where you happen to live, Chicago time. I got to get out of here. Y'all, we can talk a little bit in the back, but I got to let y'all go. Unfortunately, I wish this could have went on a little bit longer. Long live the habitual line steppers. I'm Roger. I'm right. And I'm out.
Yeah, all right.